Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to build today, including a Summoner Warlock, maybe a Hellfire related one, and we'll have to find out which are the definite most efficient skills to play. And we'll begin with a Summoner Warlock. We have the full skill tree for the Warlock, and more importantly, we have every single skill and how they actually work. That's like the most interesting part for me. So we have like every single skill with every single variation, right? What the variations exactly do, how it looks, if they're worth it or not, and that for all of them. So it's kind of pretty cool to decide that I have actually not looked at Molten Bomb yet. So we're gonna have to find out what is my favorite basic skill to use for then our respective builds, because there's quite some. We'll definitely have to choose one that helps us to build a dominance, because we'll need quite some dominance. I'll have to consider how to otherwise build dominance, and we have to find every single necro unique as well. It's gonna be super interesting. Kachina, howdy. Happy you're enjoying the YouTube thumbnails. They're a pride of my work. Trico, also good to see you there. Chippy, thank you for the 31 centuries. Good morning, gorgeous. Hope you're doing good. So we'll take a first look at Command Fallen. This is the summoner specific one. So there is the lesser demon one that summons a fallen lunatic that charges your target and explodes. We get a fallen lunatic. It just looks like this, right? So this is your basic skill that creates a resource to begin with. Sadly, it doesn't show us the scaling when we're going for it. It would generate 10 wrath per. Then we can Command Fallen generates additional wrath for every demon or enemy you've killed in the last 2 seconds. Which means if I spam Command Fallen, then they're going to die and I'm going to get more wrath. We could also have them do more damage, which I don't think is necessary, so I'd rather generate more wrath so I can spam more. Every 15 times you hit enemies with Command Fallen, you gain 1 dominance. 15 times. It doesn't really sound like a lot of dominance, does it? For the Warlock. And this was your demon summon by Command Fallen, deal increased damage for every second they're alive. I probably would just go for the dominance production. Dominance is your second resource that you'll need to play like skills later on. For example, Rampage costs dominance. The sigils, I think, the ultimates. So we'll need dominance for certain. That would be an option. But what are the variations now, ladies and gentlemen, right? We got, this is Command Fallen, exactly. Now this is the first one, and it's called Mega Lunatic. Is Warlock already out, Vax? No, but if you find the right content online, you do actually have every single skill displayed to you. There are a lot of Warlock videos you can find. I mean, if you go on YouTube and you Google Diablo 4 Warlock, right? You'll find a lot of videos that are just a random gameplay, right? Where shit's just randomly running around. And you don't really get more insight into it. However, Mr. Macrobio Boy recorded every single skill in their singularity and what they do, so that we can check how they work. For example, the lunatic, that's now the main skill for our summoner variant. This one does summon a big fallen that explodes into 3 tinier ones. The problem is that the tinier ones are not hitting the same target again. The advantage is it's 136% bonus damage, which is actually really, really fucking nice. Look at this. It's like a huge explosion. 136% bonus damage is just nifty, especially if this is like an explosion actually, and not only dealing the damage to the target, but to multiple targets, right? Morbid, this is not a PDR. No, there is no PDR. This is people that had review access over websites, right? And we're just have the knowledge here. The second variation is meat shields. where it becomes a Hellfire skill and passively summons a lunatic every 8 seconds. I wonder if this is the best thing to do, because it would be 5 lunatics that are rotating around you without you having to do anything. Look at this, chat. So this is just 3, and it can be up to 5 down the line, right? So that seems like really amazing, having these lunatics, and then you walk and they just explode, right? And you just waltz into the enemy and they just get permanently resummoned while we use our other main skill. I'm not sure if this is the gameplay because you want to not use your basic skill. Your basic skill should be used automatically. I mean, considering that every fallen that probably explodes then generates wrath, why not? Devil, thank you for the 17 months of support. Devil, very good to see you there, partner. When we do have, let me see if I can find this. We do have some fluent Summoner Warlock gameplay where we can see some of these skills in action. Let me see if I have. There was Summoner Warlock gameplay. Surprisingly difficult to find. The one video I was looking for. Yeah, we get the whole like multiple different builds for warlocks out there, but I'm looking for one specific one that I wanted to show you on the side. There was warlock. I have to look for that later. Okay. So show you the Fallen army. So this is command. Fallen now summons up to 3 grunts for 20 seconds, which deal damage and generate 10 wrath per hit. And if we're just looking for wrath, right? You probably have the most with this, because look at that. 1, 2, 3. Thing is, you summon 1, 2, 3, right? And they exist for 20 seconds. What I wonder is, can they die? They're temporary summons, right? So they probably can't die. So you would summon 1, 2, 3, and then you would not have to worry about it again. You're gonna start the season with, I will start the season with Warlock, that's for sure. Simply because it's new and I'm just excited for the new things to see what we can do with it. And I just like summoner playstyle, so simple as cake, right? Steven, welcome back, partner. Steven, thank you for gifting a sub. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. There's going to be a month between D4 and PoE 2. Yeah, that's fire. I can spend 30 plus days with Diablo. I can make 3 to 4 builds per class, which is going to be amazing. We can completely lock in, right? I can get a Summoner Warlock. I can do an Abyss Warlock. I can do a Hellfire Warlock. And then I can still do the others as well for every single class out there. It's going to be brilliant. I mean, we're going to gather all the uniques. We're going to bring everything together and then just have one hell of a brilliant time. I'm doing Summon Warlock. It's so far the most interesting one, Kurt, because the summons are temporary summons. I already found something I really want to do. I mean, right now for Command Fallen, I think I will go with Meat Shields, because that would make these Fallen that just originate around you. I mean, you could technically really go for the ones that are hitting, because it said, like, also when we summon the 3 hitting ones, right? We had the every 15 times you hit an enemy with Command Fallen, you gain dominance. So I assume if I make 3 Fallen that exist for 20 seconds, then they would, like, each hit counts as a hit, right? And then the more attack speed you have, the more attack speed they should have, because the skill should profit from this, hopefully. And we get the most wrath and dominance. Do you think Petless Necromancer will be viable and fun? You never have to play Petless Necromancer again, Guts. You can sacrifice your minions and you can still play your minions. So you can always use your minions as cooldown reduction. You can always use your minions as bonus resource. There's never a reason to not have minions in some way with you, no matter what you use them for or not, right? I mean, That's the good thing about Necro. Meat Shield sounds amazing because they automatically respawn. I know that Meat Shield sounds amazing, but it would be so few hits because Meat Shield here is around you, right? And you would have to run into the opponent. So Meat Shield would really only work if we're headstrong forward running into the opponent. I think if they would actually rotate around you, that would be amazing. I'm not sure because they don't seem to be attacking themselves, right? They really just exist around you and they explode on contact, which is a bit weird about Meat Shield. All 3 mods for Lunatics look great. Yes, I wanted to also look now at the mods for the other basic skills, if there's one that fits better for Demonology Warlock. Because again, we're Summoner, or I guess we're Demonology Warlock. I'm not sure what we're going to call it, right? Because yes, these are summons, but actually it's a Demon Warlock. It's a Demonology Summoner. Like, we got to find a term for this, right? Because it's not a Summoner. It doesn't have the Summoner attack. It has the Demonology attack. So we got Molten Bomb. Lob a volatile lava at an enemy dealing damage in a small area. Okay. So standard Molten Bomb is just that. You just lob this blob of lava forward. Right? And then we can have Molten Bomb deals increased damage based on how far it travels. Molten Bomb generates additional wrath on each impact. Molten Bomb has a chance to knock enemies for 30 seconds. When Molten Bomb is empowered by volatility, this chance is increased. And we have area bonus. Molten Bomb's impact area is increased by 30, but does 30% increased damage to enemies at its center. Wait, so it's increased area, but more damage only in the center. None of these specializations seem too hot. I mean, first, you'll probably go for more wrath in some case, and then just more boom. What are the 3 varieties, right? We got the Brimstone Bomb. Molten Bomb creates Brimstone at the impact location. We have Demon Turret. Molten Bomb creates a Turret Demon on impact for 5 seconds that spits lava. And you have 6 turrets. And then we got Cluster Bomb. Molten Bomb lobs a cluster of 6 smaller Shadow Bombs. Okay, so we get this one. There's also Volatility. Randomly empowers Hellfire skills when you attack with them. Empowered skills deal 50% increased damage on their next cast. This is one of the few things, like Warlock has a few keywords like Brimstone, Volatility, Hacks, Eviscerate, Demon Form, Shadow Form. Let's actually quickly pull this out that we have it like on the side and can work with this in between. Whenever we have a specific skill that profits from this. Okay, let's see the varieties. Okay, so probably here is now the Brimstone Bomb. So it creates this Brimstone at the location, explodes if enemies remain near for 2 seconds, dealing fire damage around it. That doesn't seem too hot for me. I mean, you lob it, it's there, and then it goes boom. And we get the... See, this is the Brimstone, and now it explodes. Then you have the Demon Turret. I want to see that one. So this is Demon Turrets. You're summoning them, and then they spew out lava. This looks so cool. But they last very short, right? It's like 4 or 5 seconds spits lava, but it's like 1, 2, 3 spits, and then it's gone. And then we get Cluster Bomb. It doesn't seem to overlap, right? Not always. So sometimes here it overlaps, right? It hits the targets multiple times, and sometimes it doesn't seem to hit the target multiple times. The update is Diablo 3.0, sir. Don't forget the Vessel of Hatred update that already made Diablo 2.0. So it's like, you know, we're already have gotten one. So I gotta say, Molten Bomb does not seem too exciting from what I've seen there right now. I mean, like, personally, if I would have to choose for Summoner playstyle, it's not Molten Bomb. Then we got Doom. Burst a sigil on your enemies, hexing them and dealing damage. Okay. I like the, how's it called again? I like the animation here. So like the sigil and then boom forward. Casting Doom against a vulnerable, weakened, or slowed enemy assimilates the effect, causing Doom to also apply those effects for 3 seconds. Casting Doom echoes 10% of his damage to all nearby hexed enemies. Doom generates 1 wrath every 2 seconds for each hexed enemy, and Doom deals increased damage to enemies for each second they have been hexed. Okay. Okay, nothing too special. Hex is, by the way, the next keyword. Increases critical chance against affected characters by 15, stacking up to 45%. That's quite a lot. Tomorrow's release. The release is not tomorrow, at least not for me, sir. For me, I gotta wait for Tuesday morning, 1 a.m. Claw for Warlock is going to be amazing. Shadow Claw is one of the strongest, or are you talking about the Helion? So the one of the strongest skills seems currently to be Dreadclaws. There's actually Torment 12 gameplay of this one, but I guess no one actually tried out Summoner in this case. So you see a Torment 12 Dreadclaws. One reviewer has it, but we don't know how efficient it really will be or how efficient the others will be, right? You wish that Warlock's not going to be insanely OP? I mean, like, sir, right? It will be insanely OP. But I think everything will be insanely OP because the new scaling is going to break shit. You can play the standard edition of Diablo. You're just going to miss out on a shit ton of things, Andre. Total Fated is another DLC I have to pay for, yes. Okay, well, what do we got? We got Contagion. So let's see the specializations. Whenever you kill a hexed enemy, Doom spreads to hex another enemy and deal 50% damage to them. Okay. Doom is cast at range on the ground, leaving behind a mark that tethers your target and hexes enemies for 6. Your hex is applied with maximum stacks and lasts 15 seconds, but you can only have one hex target at a time. When hex expires or is removed, Doom deals 175% damage split amongst all enemies in the area. Doom is now a Hellfire skill. Okay, that's not none of this is too hot. Okay, let's see. We got the first variant. That would be Contagion, where it just spreads. Right? I guess that could be interesting. Then we got Doom is cast at range on the ground, leaving behind a mark that tethers enemies. Okay. And lastly, this is the Hellfire Doom, where your hex is applied at maximum stacks. That means instantly 45% bonus critical strike chance. It says when hex is inspired or removed. So if there was a way to remove the hex, that'd be amazing. Early, right? If there's a shadow skill to remove it, but that's a whole different build then. So this one also doesn't seem to be well working for a summoner. Right? I mean, it's interesting to see, boom, there's the explosion, right? But that's not too hot. What about the Helion Sting? Because Helion Sting is also marked as a Demonology skill. So we have here the basic Demonology Lesser Demon, and here you have basic Demonology. But you're missing the Lesser Demon tag, and Lesser Demon tag is really, really important, okay? Down the line, it will become apparent to you why the Demonology is so important, the Lesser Demon. Okay, Helion Sting is a whip a tail forward. Here, this is the whipping a tail forward. I haven't played D4 PoE or APG in general for about 5 to 6 months. Yeah, I mean, we get this update, then a month later we get the big PoE update, so summer is saved, at least until July. I mean, the whole June is going to be for PoE, and then actually in July/August, in August, we should probably be getting the first real season of Diablo already, unless they're going to drag it out. So, good times ahead. Here we get the Helion Sting. Helion Sting deals increased damage. Enemies 3 seconds after you first strike them. Casting increases your Wrath regeneration for 10 for... Okay, sure, that's nice with the Wrath regeneration. Helion Sting has an increased Eviscerate chance against your primary target. When you strike an Eviscerated enemy with Helion Sting, yeah, so Eviscerate is good. Eviscerate is like another Warlock skill. Eviscerate says, enemies instantly lose 20% of their bleeding life and then take bleeding damage over 12 seconds. So as far as I understood it, they take like a 20% damage hit. That is bleed, right? Kind of. It's cool. Scorpion. And with the 17 months of support, Scorpion gets to see their partner. Hope you're doing very well. Multi-strike. Casting Helion within of the last will increase the number of strikes up to 2 total hits per cast. Tail spikes. Helion launches a wave of spikes. And your 4th Helion sting attack transforms you into demon form. Oh. I want to see that. Okay, so this is just double Helion stings. That kind of looks cool, the multi-strike. The spikes don't... I'm not sure about the spikes. They don't look too impressive. I would have gone for the multi-strikes, but with the Hellfire. That's like the 4th skill. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're demon form. Demon form, by the way, says increases your maximum life by 25. While active, kills increase the damage of Demonology skills by 1% up to 100%. Does that mean I kind of want to permanently be in demon form? Mirko, welcome back with your Prime sub in the 3rd month. Thank you for all the content and more to come. I mean, we will have a full draft up. So today, just as a heads up, guys, today is the TLDR, the long version, where we just talk about everything Warlock. Then tomorrow I'll have a full starter build for Warlock for you. We also have already all the skills for Necromancer, Druid, and Sork out, plus the uniques. So it's not all the skills, it's like half of the skill tree for each of them. To give you a feeling for every single build. That's all what already exists, what we have done so far for this season. But we're gonna have starter builds, at least 3 for you. It's probably gonna be Paladin something. I haven't entirely decided yet. And we'll also present you my plan. My plan that I'm having with this stuff going on, right? What I will do personally. Okay, so that is the demon form. I mean, after seeing all this now, okay, chat, after seeing all these skills now, I think I'm very decided already on the Command Fallen. I'm just not sure if we're gonna go for Meat Shield. Okay, so the choice would be between Meat Shield, having this around you, or going for the Fallen Army. Now, I will say that probably for leveling, okay, so this is something easily decided. For leveling, the best one is going to be, let me show you. So for leveling, the best one is going to be the Mega Lunatic. So Command Fallen summons a Mega Lunatic, which deals 140% damage and bursts into 3. Yeah, that's bullshit efficient. That I just go slam dunk and slap. Right? Why would I have 3 rotating around me? Why would I have 3 shitty ones when I can just slam dunk everyone? Right? I'm sorry. And then we're gonna get dominance and more wrath. So this is gonna be straight up here in case you missed the slam dunk skill. So this is how it looks. This is the small ones, okay? And then you go for the specialization and you go for that's the big one. Perfect decision. Okay, now we're gonna go for core skills, okay? Core skills, the bread and butter of how it works. One thing we also haven't mentioned yet is soul shards, because on top of what the Warlock does, he does not only have the skills, right? Like the Lunatic, he also does have soul shards that you need to choose from. This is your specialization, okay? And this is what's going to heavily determine how you're going to be playing, right? Because, for example, the Legion shard says casting a greater demon skill increases lesser demon skills cast speed and cooldown rate by 20%. When 200 of your lesser demons die, your next greater demon skill has no dominance cost. This already means I'm forced to play Command Fallen if I wanted to go for this shard, right? Because Command Fallen is going to give me lesser demons. These lesser demons are going to die. If I wanted to summon Angrom, you get Angrom. It's like you get this dude here. Summon Angrom. So it's Druid specializations, similar to it, Red Dragon Flare. It's more like the Necromancer where you choose a shard and then you choose a fragment. Okay? So in the Legion chart, you can choose one of 3 fragments as well. For example, Angrim now passively spawns a Vile Child, lesser demons, every 1 second. Summoning a greater demon increases the spawn rate by 50. Additionally, stacks do not refresh this duration. Command Angrim no longer spoofs Vile Children and instead causes all of your lesser demons to explode. Or, you're unstoppable as long as you have an active lesser demon. Finally, Evisceration Fragment. While an enemy is eviscerated, your summoned demons prioritize them and gain 50% increased movement speed. Demonology skills gain a 2% chance to eviscerate enemies that are already eviscerated. Which is quite crazy because you gotta consider that evisceration says enemy takes 20% of their bleeding life, so they take 20% damage of their max life. I kind of have a video on evisceration too. And then they take bleeding damage over 12 seconds. So if we spam lesser demons at them, right? And then we actually eviscerate them. But while they're eviscerated, they could get eviscerated again. And again. And again. And again. And again. So that might be how you can actually stack up insane damage. Now, I'm not sure if the 2% chance will be enough to, like, kind of get this, right? But you could also go for the Vanguard shard that says, while in demon form, casting Archfiend skills additionally summons the Archfiend demon. Rampage summons a Brood for 10 seconds. Infernal Breast summons a demonic hat for 10 seconds that orbits you and spews flames. So there is some things like that you could actually use for summons as well, right? I mean, the Mastermind, for example, is all about stealthing, so this one does not have much to do with summoning, apart from the last one, is summoning a non-soul shard abyss. Greater demon consumes all dominance, increasing its damage. And lastly, you have the Ritualist that says occult skills deal increased damage per stack of overpower. But we're not going to use a single occult skills, right? Technically. New patch in Crimson Desert. Demon, there was nothing interesting. I mean, so far, the latest patches here for Crimson Desert has been 104. But there's nothing in there, right? There's a few minor new things. It doesn't have the boss respawn, so I'm not too intrigued. It's minimal things, Demon. It's nothing like groundbreaking, earth-shattering, that kind of stuff. Okay, we've decided on the Lunatic already, chat. That means we now look at the core skills. And this is my favorite one. It's called Bombardment. Look at this. You're throwing demons. Yeah. Smash down 4 demons into the ground, each dealing 40% damage. Now, what I wonder is, if you smash down 4 demons, okay, can each demon have the chance to eviscerate? You know what I mean? So if we now choose the Legion Shard together with the Evisceration Fragment, and we're slamming down 4 demons into you continuously, right? Does each of these, each single hit counts as a chance to bonus eviscerate? Because that's 4 chances then for the evisceration. It's a lesser one, yes, sir. It is a lesser one. So these are lesser demons, and they also count towards the total of getting a dominance skill for free, Frank. Right? So that should work as well. No, Demon. The latest patch says boss respawn is coming in a later patch. Okay, so Bombardment is that one. Then we get Bombardment. Each cast of Bombardment deals 5% increased damage to each enemy per hit. Now, I don't understand how this one is worded because it's a bit weird. Each cast of Bombardment deals 5 increased damage to each enemy per hit. But what does per hit here insinuate? Each cast. So I cast Bombardment, right? And then I hit the enemy with 4 demons 4 times. But that can't be 20% bonus damage then, right? Because then I would cast it twice and I would get... Does the damage just infinitely keep stacking? You know what I mean, right? There seems to be something like... I'm not sure how that is supposed to scale. Alternative, Bombardment throws an additional demon. So we're just adding 1 more demon. Instead of 4, we're throwing 5. Each time Bombardment throws a demon, it has a chance to also throw a surrounding enemy or lesser demon at your target. Also here, each time Bombardment throws a demon, does that count now 4 chances or 5 chances for it? Or does it count as 1 time per Bombardment cast? Right? Each time Bombardment throws a demon. I guess it doesn't matter that I throw 4 or 5 or 28. It counts per throw of demons. That's what I would assume. Bombardment Chaotic Spread is reduced by 300%, and it deals 30% increased damage when only hitting a single enemy. I like this one because right now, so when we're casting Bombardment, right, You have these. The further out they go, the further they spread. See? He just threw them there. So they just go out. But you could like make them rather clustered together. Now this one, what is he doing? He's doing Rampaging Brutality. And that's the first specialization. Each cast of Bombardment within 3 seconds of the last calls down more demons up to an additional 4. So we could, if everything goes well and I can spam the skill, we could shoot a grand total of 9 demons per cast. You know what you're gonna send there? So we're gonna have to find out a way how we get a lot of wrath, and then you stand there and you go like, vah, 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 and you just yeet out these demons here, right? So he's gonna have to see like here gets see that this is and if you like, do you see how far they're spread in this cast? Look at the spread here. Look at this, how far they're spread. If we now reduce the chaotic spread by 300%, and then you're just machine gun slamming in. And we're gonna just rain demons on a boss. Huh? Will it stay at 9 demons? No, big ray. It says, so this one says, each cast within 3 seconds. So in this 3-second window, we're gonna have to spam. And then once we have reached 9, as long as we keep spamming, we stay at 9, right? So you just gotta keep going, but you'll never get more than 9 because it's 4 plus 1 plus 4. Unless there's obviously a unique that gives us more bombardment demons. Okay? So if you now get another 5 bombardment demons or a temper. I mean, what about a temper? That gives you more bombardment demons. What about like the temper summons 2, double, whatever, right? The other variety would be bombardment is a summon skill, and each impact has a chance to leave behind mutilated demons. Now compare these two, chat. Okay, we could haul ass. We could haul ass, or we could have it on impact. Leave behind a wretched demon with a chance. Not even a guarantee. Look at these tiny 3 wretched demons. What? Hello? Is there even a comparison? I'm sorry. I mean, this is obviously ass, because why would I want to have like 4 little shitters just sit there and be shit? The last one is Endless Barrage. Bombardment becomes a Hellfire skill and now only slams down demons or randomly around yourself, but demons continue to rain down around you for 10 seconds. I like this because it says the effect can stack up to 5 times. So you're gonna cast this, and then you're gonna cast this, and then you're gonna cast this, and then you're gonna cast this, right? And you're just gonna have demons rain around you. What I hate though is they're just not going to hit the boss every single time, right? They're randomly around you. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a build with this too, but it doesn't seem too exciting, right? So I guess the brutality, yeeting off multiple demons with less chaotic spread, together with then the command fallen. This is right now what I tend to look for, especially in here Kim's chat. If every cast of bombardment makes 9 demons, and we then have this shard again, that Demonology skills gain a 2% chance to eviscerate enemies. I would still say the way how lucky hit chance or how hit chances work, 1 cast of bombardment would be 9 hits. You cannot convince me that 1 cast of bombardment is not going to be 9 hits. I'm sorry. So what we need to do is we need to eviscerate an enemy, or we need to make sure that they're eviscerated, that we can then just bonus eviscerate them. So that's right now what we're having like in our mind. Okay, but what about the other skills? So we still have Hellfire Fracture, we still have Dreadclaws, and we still have Blazing Scream, okay? So Hellfire Fracture summons the fires of hell to fracture the ground, dealing 80% of damage to enemies. The fracture remains for 15 seconds and explodes up to 2 more times when you cast Hell Fracture again. So you're going to put this down, and then you just, like, this is a little bit, you know what this is, chat? This is Rotten Lightbringer Druid. Because you put one down, then a second one, then a third one. See, and like, they each explode each other. Which is kind of cool. This is a core skill I love to see. Because, like, you put this on one target, right? And it's just like, imagine you're able to spam this away. Good. Then we have the specializations here now. Okay, standing within Hell Fracture, Explosion grants you Volatility. Volatility, again, was the skill where randomly empowers Hellfire skills. So you would pretty much slam them down and stand inside to get Volatility. You could also, casting Hell Fracture reduces the cost by 25 until you cast a different skill. That's kind of cute. You could just go from 35 Wrath cost, like, down by 1/4, right? And then keep spamming it. I like the idea. Casting a basic skill increases the damage of your next Hellfire Fracture by 40, but also increases the cost by 25. Nah. Or Hell Fracture explodes an additional time. Oh, that means you can put more down. So they explode 2 more times. You put 1 down. The second one explodes the first one. The third one explodes the first one. The first one would go away because 2 more times, right? But if you then have an additional time, then you make the third one, and then, like, vice versa, consecutive more explosions. With Lava Fracture, Hell Fracture creates lava fissures between each fracture. There's the fissure. You see them, Chad? You know what this is? This is the Fissure Warrior from Path of Exile. Then we got Hell Fracture no longer explodes with each cast, and instead creates 3 smaller fractures in front of you that erupt into 5 brimstones when you enter. But you would have to move. That's bullshit. The idea is not completely without merit, but you would have to walk into them. You see this? And look where the brimstone goes. So these brimstone elements, they could now explode. But what would this do? What would this do in a boss fight? I mean, sorry, you always have to think about a core skill has to work in a boss fight. A core skill has to work in a... I mean, this would be maybe good for Hell Tides or the Pit or whatsoever. Hell Tides or Infernal Hordes. But this specialization would never hold up unless you somehow can make all the brimstones, like, come to the middle or something. It's kind of like, it's a bit whack. Okay, what's the last one? Last one, Hell Fracture reaches to the abyss, dealing damage and pulling enemies inwards. Oh, wow. See, that's way more interesting. When you could just spam that away. Look at this. And then you... That looks cool. That looks cool, Chad. I mean, after I'm done with my Demonology Warlock, definitely Hell Fracture is a skill I have my eyes on. We need to check more uniques. I'm not sure how many Warlock uniques we have because they're spread all throughout the internet. Okay? We get the Dreadclaws. So Dreadclaws allegedly already cleared Torment 12. I've seen videos of it. So Dreadclaws say burst forth 4 shadowy claws. It looks really, really cool. I mean, we had the... Oh no, first we have Umbral Chains. Sorry, we don't have Dreadclaws, we have Umbral Chains. Excuse more. Umbral Chains down here. It says, send forth a shadowy chain dealing damage to the way along the way and linking up to 2 enemies for 5 seconds. Enemies caught are slow and take damage per second. Okay. I mean, it looks fucking rad. For sure. And we got, when Umbral Chain ends, it refunds 1 wrath for each enemy hit over its duration. Knocks back. Umbral Chains flies farther. Umbral Chains deals increased damage when unchained enemy when an unchained enemy is first caught by the chain. Hexed enemies always take increased damage. I'm not really... This doesn't look interesting. Right? Personally. Chain burst. Umbral chains explode for 94% when stretched to its maximum or when it expires. If this happens early, then any damage the chain would have done is added. What happens if you just spam them? That's a good question, right? So if you now spam them, and that would kind of like make the chains then disappear, right? Yeah, okay. Then we got Epicenter. Umbral chains now always create a chain link back to you. Additionally, whenever you summon a greater demon, a chain is created between you for up to 30 seconds. I assume you can drag these chains through enemies. Yeah. I assume that that's like the basic idea behind it. So you would just walk through and that does damage whenever the chain like bonus touches. Lastly, chain whips. Umbral chains whips around your target, dealing damage per second to surrounding enemies. Don't show me the money. That sound intriguing. See, like that's just walking through and doing damage by contact. I mean, look, this looks really cool, honestly. I wonder how many chains at the same time you can have active, right? So like if you yeet this into enemies, that at least seemed like something fun. Right? Just get them in and just go. Woo! Not as cool as the Hellfire explosions, right? But quite something. Okay. Then we got our Blazing Scream. Send forth a demon skull dealing damage while it travels, which is a Demonology skill, and it is a greater demon. This greater demon, though, does not require Dominance to be summoned. Dominance is the second resource. So the Bombardment is a lesser demon. The Blazing Scream is a actual greater demon, which surprises me. So you summon this dude forward and he bounced. Oh boy. How many of those can you have active at the same time? Huh? Good. Blazing Scream deals increased damage based on how many different enemies it has hit. Hitting an enemy with Blazing Scream reduces its cost. Blazing Scream gains up to 30% increased damage and speed based on your movement speed bonus. Blazing Scream knocks down enemies. Well, probably here and cost. Then we got the Skull Splitter. Blazing Scream shoots out smaller skulls that seek enemies and deal damage. Oh, show me the money. How that one splits open. That's a lot of hits. I mean, alone for the actual visual overwhelming of shit, right? Of just hurling it out and being like, fuck you. Full screen of skulls. I guess the problem here is smaller arena better, right? The smaller the arena is, the more bibbity bounds we're having, the more things are happening, the more you would have the chance of potentially dealing double damage. Because if now the area is relatively large, then they're not going to bounce into the target again. Raging Spirit but bigger. Yep, Ita. Blazing Screen now orbits you for 10 seconds. The skull deals 805 damage and extends demon form when it hits enemies. Channeling increases the orbit speed by 150 and refreshes the duration. Okay, so you got this one. But then you have to channel it, I find like kind of shitty. I mean, that is 10 seconds is quite nice, so that's intriguing. And you just have to quickly channel it every now and then to refresh the duration. But I just can't see like I can't see a playstyle with this. Right? Can you tell me how you would feel like you would have to walk forward, stutter step channel, walk forward, stutter step channel, walk forward, stutter. It doesn't seem like intriguing. Personally, from how it just seems here, from what I see. Michael, 16 for you tomorrow. For me, it's 1 a.m. CEST chat. I will pretty much go to bed. I'll awake at midnight. And I need to tell you something very important, Chai. I need to tell you something very, very important. Okay, listen, please. Everyone listen to me. We have a problem, and the problem is weird, but it's not actually a problem. So we know that Lord of Hatred releases in 38 hours, okay? The thing is that you cannot play the new season until 30 minutes after release. Okay, what does this mean? Let's pull out Paint. What does this mean? So the game for me releases at 1 a.m. Okay? 1 a.m. That's when the game releases. This is release. But the problem is that this is the release on Eternal Realm. Yeah, you heard right. So this is the Eternal release. You can play the new campaign. You can have fun for 30 minutes with the new campaign. Then, 30 minutes later, at 1:30 a.m., that's the new season. And then you can make a seasonal character. Okay? I just want you to be aware of this. This is a tiny thing. So I personally will log in at 1 a.m. I will look at the skill trees for 30 minutes. Then I'll make a character and play. Seems a bit shitty, right? Because I could be playing for 30 minutes already, but yeah. This is CEST, sorry. So this is 1 a.m. CEST. It's just for release, so whatever time it is in your world. Yeah, so we're going to look at our classes, right? We're going to have some fun, and then we're just going to jump into the season. And not give a flying fart. So we're going to look a bit at the Necromancer tree, that kind of stuff. So just that you're aware, right? But you have to wait essentially 30 minutes if you want to play in the season. Now, technically, there's no reason to play in this season, which is not true. Because playing in this season this time gives you 14 Resplendent Sparks. Right? I mean, obviously, the whole shit is going to be delayed and everything is going to die anyways, so... but I just need you to be aware of this, right? So if you really want to play the seasonal, because the seasonal gives you the seasonal rewards too, you get the seasonal pet, the titles, the borders, the whatever, what shit, right? So I just don't want you to fall for this trap that you're essentially starting on the Eternal Realm, already play for hours, and then you notice, shit, I gotta delete this character and go for the seasonal realm. Okay? Good. Let's delete the beautiful graphic and return back to what we're talking about. Blazing Screen now seeks your target location for 5 seconds, dealing damage and making enemies vulnerable. Channeling redirects the skull and refreshes the duration. I don't like... I can't get warm with this, honestly. The only thing I like about Blazing Scream is really the spam. Right, this spam, like, this has me, right? Yeah, let's go, bob. Maybe there's a good unique for this, okay? I think they said in grand total that every single skill is supposed to have one unique at least. Do you start in the night? I start in the night. I will be there at midnight. So I'll be there. Good. So that is now the last one. Dreadclaws, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Dreadclaws now is supposedly one of the strongest ones. So you burst forward these claws. It looks amazing. It has great range. It has like single target range, everything at the same time. So it makes like super sense. And I think since it is a, what is the first skill? It is a core Demonology Abyss skill, right? I'm not sure if this one hexes automatically, giving you more crit as well. Every second, gain 20% increased damage for your next Dreadclaw up to 100%. That's bad because you would have to wait with the cast. Killing enemies or demons with Dreadclaws reduces the cost of your next Dreadclaw by 10 up to 50. Sure, it's nice. Deal increased damage with its first claw strike against each enemy. When attacking from stealth, all claws gain this bonus. Dreadclaws make enemies vulnerable for 5 seconds if it strikes them at least 2 times. Okay. Dreadclaw sends out 4 additional claws. Each set deals 30% increased damage than the last. Damn. And the claws already look hot. And now look at this. I was sending out a lot of these. Then we got Dreadclaws are cast around you, each dealing damage. You consume 1 stack of Shadow Form to also conjure claws around most recent greater demon summons. That means if I have 1 greater demon summon with me and I spam claws, that I potentially double my damage. As long as I have Shadow Form. I've not played since before Vessel of Hatred. Do I need to buy both? If you buy Lord of Hatred, you get Vessel of Hatred for free. Ta-da. I know it's scam, but it's a good scam. Lastly, we get Dreadclaws, or wait, no, we had this one. We had Encircling Terror, yeah. So that is Encircling Terror. That's good. That looks probably the most promising. And then you have Ravenous Jaws. Dreadclaws are cast in a frontal cone, dealing damage and killing any lesser demon they strike. Each lesser demon killed grants Dreadclaws a chance for 5 seconds to eviscerate enemies. Huh. I like the idea of this, but I'm not sure how you would have the lesser demons. That's not true. It's actually not true. I mean, first and foremost, it looks great. So with this one, with the Ravenous Jaws, you would have to play the Agrum now passively spawns a Vile Child Lesser Demon every 1 second. Summoning a Greater Demon increases this spawn rate by 50 for 4 up to 150. Additional stacks do not refresh this duration, right? So you would have Vile Children be spawned continuously and then just slap them silly. Or this thought process here, if you use the Meat Shield, Lunatics that rotate around you, and then I'm spamming a Ravenous Jaws forward, I could consume my own lesser demons, right? So here's the command Fallen, and in the Hellfire version of the skill, they just orbit around you. Here. So this is just what happens. And since they orbit around you, and they're always kind of like in front of you, you could just shoot them yourself. Why would they not just pick 1 launch time, Jets? I do believe the basic idea behind the staggered launches of 30 minutes to technically reduce the load on the servers and not have the login servers collapse right away, which I think sounds as stupid as it is. I mean, I guess we could turn Shadowclaw into a demon-eating, Dreadclaws into a demon-eating tool, but I just don't think that's the vibe, right? So if I now have to confirm like this one here, Ravenous Jaws for the eviscerate chance, or I would spam out 9 demons per cast, I think Bombardment wins. Jolord, I still have to find a video about Angrum. I know I have seen him in multiple videos already, but I haven't found a good video that like shows off the full capabilities of Angrim, sadly. So this is now the next level of skills. Okay, chat, we got Wall of Agony, Tortured Wretch, Dark Prison, and Nether Step. I personally think these 3 skills are trash, and Nether Step is kind of good. Let's start with a Wall of Agony. And I really don't know what they thought about this skill, no matter how we look at it. So Wall of Agony summons a wall of demons. Okay? That's the skill. Summon and fuse 5 frenzied demons into a line for 8 seconds. The demons block enemies, flail wildly, dealing damage per hit to those in front of them. Now it says 5 frenzied demons, so I do assume that every cast is 5 lesser demons. They do count as lesser demons. They do have the summon tag as well. Now we can say each hit from Wall of Agony has a chance to knock down enemies, or Wall of Agony's cost is reduced. Then we also have the Wall of Agony deals increased damage. And we have Wall of Agony now spawns 3 demons, but cost reduced by 50. Thing is, this one costs dominance. So we have to build up dominance to actually use this second resource of the Warlock, right? With Fallen Army, the Wall of Agony expires, demon brutes remain for 5 seconds. We could also have Waller. Wall of Agony summons 10 demons in a cage formation that pulls enemies inward. And lastly, in Circle, we put them around in a circle. But if you actually look at all these skills and you think about the execution, the playstyle, and considering that they cost dominance, because you have to, like, you see how dominance is passively regenerating. So first you got to build up dominance or regenerate enough dominance to use this. Therefore, we can actually not spam the skill, right? We might use it for every other pack. This is the small walls. So this is the enhancement 2 for that encircling motion, right? And then you get like the final one is circle around you. I just really don't see, like, how can this ever be good? Am I crazy, chat? Am I just not being faithful? Am I being a stinky content creator? I just don't see how this would ever be a skill I want to use. Right? Traff, fantastic to see you there. Daniel also, good morning, pleasure. The only thing, like, technically you could play Wall of Agony and then destroy them with your Dreadclaws to do more damage, because again, they count as lesser demons, right? So put up Wall of Agony and then launch your Ravenous Jaws through them. But is that really a playstyle? It seems like weird to make a skill to kill a skill, personally. And then we get the Tortured Wretch. Summon a tortured demon on your enemies, dealing 60% damage and taunting them for 5 seconds. Now, this one is interesting because it's a full-on utility skill, right? I mean, I could run around anywhere on the map with the Tortured Wretch, and you can taunt things, right? This is nice. I mean, in Infernal Hordes, Echoing Hatred, like whatever, you just put this out, it goes, not too bad. I'm also not too excited because, again, cost dominance as well. Tortured Rat makes you unstoppable, so and so. But like, if you use it to make yourself unstoppable, you could break out of stun and at the same time taunt all enemies. So this is kind of like the super get out of jail card, right? Oh no, I got stunned. Get tortured. Get taunted. Unstoppable. Fuck you nerds, I'm out. Tortured Wretch cost is reduced by 30. So I guess like here, make you unstoppable. When enemies attack the Tortured Wretch, they are enraged for 2 seconds, gaining bonus attack speed but taking 25 damage when they hit targets. Which means if they attack the Tortured Wretch, they would take damage. Enemies and demons killed close to the Tortured Wretch extend its duration by 0.5 seconds up to 5. I like this one. So you put it up for 5 seconds base, you get out of jail card, and then you kill the enemies around him, extending his durations up to 10 seconds total. Not bad. Then we get the specialization. Saws grind up enemies around the Tortured Rat, periodically dealing 20% damage with a chance to eviscerate enemies for 600% damage. And this is where the Tortured Wretch then suddenly becomes interesting, right? So, get out of jail card, unstoppable, taunting the enemies, Having the enemies take bonus damage, and then look at this, grinding them up. I mean, would this work against bosses? Can we taunt bosses, potentially? Right? We also do have the next one, Punching Bag. Tortured Wretch no longer taunts, but now lasts for 5 seconds, and you redirect all damage to it, so as long as you stay in the area. It can absorb up to 100% of your maximum life before it's killed. When the demon dies, it explodes, dealing 500% damage. Not too excited for that one, because this seems a bit bad in my eyes, right? I'd rather have continuous damage than a one get out of jail like Explosion Demon that just sucks up everything I would potentially take. And lastly, we have Domination. Torture Wretch no longer spawns a demon, but instead dominates a target's mind for 15 seconds. Now, as much as I like this one, right? As cool as this kind of is, what are you, like, we need an enemy for this, right? So you need to dominate the mind of an enemy. But if we're fighting a boss, it's a useless skill. Right? I just really do not understand the domination. It is a cool thought. But if there's only a boss, what am I going to do? Daniel, you don't have to summon demons. No, Daniel. This is just one playstyle of the Warlock. So I personally like the summon playstyle because they're temporary summons and you don't have to care for the life. But this is only one playstyle of many. Okay? I personally want to play the summon playstyle because I like it. However, there's a full shadow playstyle. Wait, let me see if I can show you a little video to get you used to something different. Shadow playstyle. What was Warlock announced again? I'm trying to find like all the Warlock videos that I had in my mind. Warlock. Here, I'll show you. So this is kind of like the Abyss Warlock, where you use your shadow skills to go around, and then you just like yoink things with shadow claws. All right, you use like the laser demon here, the laser eye sigil, and some other shenanigans. So definitely doesn't have to be like a summoner. You can also be shadow dashing around, and then this is a Terror Storm, by the way, very cool. So yeah, it's like not that you're forced to do summons. It's just that there are temporary summons that obviously do help and support you. So you'd be silly to not use them at times. How many minions can you have with a Necro? It should be up to 30, even beyond that. So Shadow definitely works, but it's just like the basic idea. What can we do? Like, I want to do summons personally, right? Okay, Domination. Then let's look at Dark Prison. Create a shadowy totem for 8 seconds that chains enemies, tethering them to the area and preventing them from escaping. How youthful is that? So you run around, you put the prison down. Oh, did it pull them together? It doesn't say that it pulls them together, right? But it clearly looked like it. I'm not crazy. Right, he cast that, and they pulled. Is it like one of the, let's see. Enemies with Dark Prison are weakened. Enemies killed within Dark Prison reduce cooldown. That's kind of nice. Small missiles that enter Dark Prison are slowed. Hitting enemies with Dark Prison fortifies you. Not bad. Casting Dark Prison refreshes and creates a link to your last prison. Enemies that cross the line will be pulled into the new prison. That's funny. So you could pretty much go around and then just yoink enemies throughout the whole map. Right? So with Tripwire, you just create, and then you create, and then you create, and then you create, and then just pull them around. Okay. The other one would be Calamity. That says, Dark Prison now lasts 50% longer, but you can only have one at a time. When the prison ends, all enemies within take 30% damage, increased by 100 per enemy within. Non-elite enemies within the prison cannot die while it's active. Recast to collapse the prison early. Hmm. Seem interesting. Okay, chain aura. Dark Prison now creates an aura of fire chains around you, reducing damage coming from outside by 35 and slowing enemies within by 80. Dark Prison is now a Hellfire skill. I'm not vibing with Dark Prison at all. Maybe I don't see the utility. Maybe I have to see the unique for it, right? But so far, it doesn't seem like even like a support skill, right? There might obviously be the option that we have 6 skill slots, so we might take it, but nah. We get Nether Step. Step through the shadows of hell to emerge at the target location, getting 4 stacks of shadow form, as well as 100% increased movement speed, which decays over 2 seconds. Now, what is shadow form, ladies and gentlemen? A shadow form is grants unhindered, and any movement grants stealth but consumes stacks, can hold up to 10 stacks. So you just jump and get stacks of shadow form to then unhindered zoom through enemies. That's kind of like super cool, right? Just a travel skill that allows you to then shadow zoom through things. But it's also pretty nifty, like quick from the bottom just through. Nether Step grounds damage reduction. Nether Step gains an additional charge. Yep. Nether Step sucks enemies into the exit portal and swap places with them. Bosses take 1000% damage. Nether Step's movement speed bonus lasts 50% longer. Cool. With portals, Nether Step's portals remain for 10 seconds and can be re-entered to move back and forth. Okay. So you Nether Step, and then you... Oh, this is the portal for... when you're fighting... the boss in the Infernal Hordes. Bartek. When you fight Bartek, he puts down these portals, right? And you can jump into Bartek's portals to avoid his damaging attacks, and you go back and forth, and you're like, Correct? Is Army of the Dead still kept at summon damage? There is no more bonus for 5 points in, sir. They changed that because you can put 15 points in the skill now. So Army of the Dead should be a true viable ultra nuke. Will Necro Army of the Dead build be viable? Yes, and we'll play it. 100% be playing it. Okay, these portals are kind of nifty. The next one would be Gloomwalker. Nether Steps now lets you run through the abyss while immune for up to 3 seconds. Cast again to exit early. I'm not sure how to imagine that one. Okay. Okay, so you you go into the abyss and then sure. Recall shadows. Nether Step brings all your abyss summons with you through the shadows and extends the duration by 3. This one was bugged. Okay, good to know. Good to know. So Nether Step could be the travel skill for Necromancer, right? I mean, this seems to be a one-stop shop for all easy, like just put 1 point in, just to put 2 points in, right? Done. I don't even have to go for specialization necessarily, right? I could just jump around to have a movement skill. A lot of the Warlock summons are temporary. Every single Warlock summon is temporary. There's only 2 summons that are not that temporary. That is Angram, and that is also from the Vanguard chart. You're getting the Tiger. There's I don't know what the tiger is called again. There's the demon that you can summon and ride on. Right? You'll be starting Necro. No, I start Warlock. As much as I like Necro, and Necro is my main, Warlock is new, and I also want to play new things. Right? I'm a simple man. I want to play new things. So, after these tier 3 skills now, we are going over to tier 4. So, we got the Rampage. Summon a Rampaging Brood for 10 seconds that smashes wildly, dealing damage with 5% chance to eviscerate. Now, the problem with Rampage is it is a dominant skill. So you have to pay dominance to actually use this. Ergo, you cannot spam Rampage. That being said, it lasts for 10 seconds, so you don't necessarily want to spam it if you think about it, right? So, Rampage looks like this. It's a bit of an explanation. Rampage. So, there we get the demon, and he just goes out and smashes, right? And his attack speed is actually kind of wild. I mean, he does not hold back. That dude just goes bop, 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 bop. He does have the summon tag, okay? And you know what that means, Chad? Summon tag means attack speed influences this. The more attack speed I have, the faster he will slam. We can then have him killing an enemy or demon with Rampage increases its damage, or casting Rampage compels your lesser demon skill to generate 1 wrath per hit for 5 seconds. Interesting. If I cast Rampage, it says 1 wrath per hit, right? But hey, Chad, when we can throw 9 demons with Bombardment. Hey, Chad. When I can throw 9 demons with Bombardment, that should count as 9 hits, right? So I can use this skill for dominance, and then my Bombardment that cost me 30 Wrath only costs 21 Wrath because we're already creating 1 Wrath per hit. Should that work? Compelled your lesser demon skills to generate 1 Wrath per hit. Yeah, it's 9 hits. Should work. And then also the command Fallen, if we have them rotating around us, should also create more. Interesting. The Tortured Wretch is sadly a greater demon, so that one doesn't do much. Okay. What if, Chad, what if you then also, instead of using the Eviscerate, have the Angrim spawn wild children, more likely? That would mean that all the wild children that are coming out of Angrim are potentially giving us Wrath too. Looking for quite the nasty Wrath production here. Chad, everything is falling. I don't even have to build this. It's building itself, right? It's building itself from the ground up. So, Rampage has a chance to trigger its Eviscerate, Volatility, or Knockdown hit effect when striking unaffected elite enemies. Or Rampage now smashes your lesser demons to fortify. No, that does not sound good. I don't want I don't want my demon masher to smash my lesser demons. Thank you very much. Good. Shockwave. Each strike from Rampage sends a second shockwave forward. That doesn't sound too hot. I mean, it doesn't sound terrible, but at the same time, it doesn't sound too hot. I'm sorry. Getting like this double smasher. Okay, show me the variants. So this is here the demon, right? And he just has more shockwaves. So he just hammers harder. But we also have the Shadow Demon. Rampage becomes an abyssal recast skill and summons a larger demon that deals 50% increased damage. Recast to command the demon to leap around the battlefield, dealing 192% damage with 15% chance per hit to knock enemies down for 3 seconds. This means you summon him, and then I can recast him to fly around, right? So you summon him, and then when you press the skill again, the Abyssal Titan just would go wherever you want it to go, right? What I wonder about the Abyssal Demon recasting skill is, okay, it's still a greater demon. Yeah, we understand each other. If it would keep triggering the Vile Child thingy. So we have this one here again, where it says summoning a greater demon increases the spawn rate. That says summoning, not using a skill. Okay, so only the summon itself would increase the spawn rate. I get that one. Sorry, we clicked off. This, there, then die. This, there, then die. Just keeping track of what was happening here. this there then. And then we have the bigger demon. Lastly, we could also have demonic smash. Rampage becomes a Hellfire mobility leap attack that transforms you into a demon form, dealing 209% damage with a 5% chance per hit to grant you 10 volatility for 10 seconds. Now, see, like, the last version is cool. It leaps you forward. Now, what I find interesting about this is it says demon form increases your maximum life by 25, while active kills increase the damage of demonology skills by 1% up to 100%. Can I leap around and then cast barrage in demon form? Right? Angrim's Chest and unique chest. I know there is an Angrim's Chest big race, so we'll have to look at this and then revise a lot of our decision once we've looked at the uniques. But for going through now, like, right, it's first impression, just looking at the skills and what we can do with them. We'll have to find all the uniques as well. So right now, I would go with an Abyssal Titan, I guess, but I'm not entirely sure how the demon form works, because how do you stay in demon form and how long is the duration of demon form? Because right now, with the skill, you see him leap, and then the demon form is like, what is it? Seems like demon form lasts for 5 seconds. So unless I would have enough dominance to continuously keep leaping around, it doesn't seem exciting, right? But we have another cool skill, and that would be Infernal Breath. Summon a demonic head for 7 seconds that breathes fire on enemies, dealing damage per hit. And I mean, this one's great. Right? I mean, it looks absolutely amazing for a demon skill. They do count as greater demons too. Okay, these are greater demons. Enemies permanently take 1% increased damage from Infernal Breath each time it hits them up to 25. Casting Infernal Breath infuses your lesser demon skills to grant 1 second of volatility per hit for 5 seconds. The problem is volatility only boosts Hellfire skills, right? So volatility is randomly empowers Hellfire skills. Which means if I would play Infernal Breath with lesser demon volatility, I would not gain any bombardment advantage from this unless we would play Endless Barrage, which would actually work together with Endless Barrage, but yeah. We have Infernal Breath deals damage but costs more dominance, and Infernal Breath deals 2,000 increased damage the first time it hits an enemy but no longer pierces. I mean, 2,000, I would really like to know how efficient this is. When you go, like, plop it down, 2,000 damage. Good. Demonic Breath. Infernal Breath is now a channeled fire breath attack, dealing damage per hit and transforming you into demon form. That would look following. Yeah, see, like, you transform into demon form, and then you actually fire breathe forward. That's cool. At the end of Infernal Breath, the demon explodes, dealing damage. The explosion damage is increased by 10 for each time the demon's breath hit enemies. And then it goes boom. Not terrible. Infernal Breath summons a large demon for 15 seconds. Recast to aim and blast enemies for 3 times for 315% damage. Okay, show me. Then you recast. Oh, and then he shoots out these blasts. That's kind of cool. Yeah, he breathes, and then you recast, and he goes like, oh. But honestly, also, like, if I was looking for my very agile demon playstyle, not what I'm looking for. Yeah. Good. We got Tyrant's Grasp. Summon a demon hand that pulls enemies away from you. Also a demon. Okay, that's the hand. Cool. Tyrant's Grasp deals increased damage against unstoppable enemies. Tyrant's Grasp commands your lesser demon skills to slow enemies. More damage. Tyrant's Grasp knocks enemies down. Tyrant's Grasp area is increased. Yeah, obviously. Then we got Demonic Grasp. Tyrant's Grasp is now a direct grasp attack that pulls enemies inward and transforms you into demon form. Not bad. Tyrant's Grasp repeatedly reaches for you and pulls away enemies. Or Tyrant's Grasp summons an abyssal pit for 10 seconds that consumes non-elite enemies, dealing damage, knocking them down, and hiding them in stealth. Recast to pull additional targets into the pit. Tyrant's Grasp is now an abyss. Recast skill and cost 20 dominance. I mean, either I'm lacking the breadth and scope of imagination, or a lot of these skills just straight up seem terrible. Don't get me wrong, right? I mean, the transforming into demon form is cool, probably, if you do a demon form playstyle, because this is very important. There's a full demon form playstyle where everything is about demon form. But none of this seems too hard, currently. Not only a death trap rogue every single season, there should be more rogue builds now. I mean, the demon form build is strong, Daniel. I have seen people do demon form stuff, so it definitely works. There's unquestionably true that you can do demon form things. But I think the theory crafting a demon form skill before you have played the Warlock is not happening. Right? Good. We also have Profane Sentinel, and this one is supposed to be really good. Summon a demonic eye for 15 seconds that focuses up on enemies with a beam that makes them vulnerable and periodically blast them for 300% damage. Okay? So you summon the Profane Sentinel here, and then you resummon them and he goes blasty. What I don't like is he doesn't seem to go blasty if I don't press the skill again. So how often do I really want to press this skill multiple times? Right? I have to press once, press twice. Every single time I want him to shoot something. At least that's what it seems like. Profane Sentinel deals increased damage, hits a single target. Boss Killer. Sentinel induces your lesser demon skills to make enemies vulnerable. Nah, Boss Killer. Profane Sentinel deals increased damage, but a blast area is reduced. Boss Killer. Or the beam is 125% larger. Boss Killer. I mainly focus on being able to kill bosses because the rest you kill anyways. The longer Profane Sentinel is locked onto the same enemy, the stronger it becomes, dealing more damage every second. There doesn't seem to be a cap to it, so the cap is the duration of it, but that would be with 15 seconds. 15 times 25. Ladies and gentlemen, what is 15 times? Wait, where's my calculator? What is 15 times 25? That was 22, but you get the gist. Yeah, that's a nice little bonus damage boost, huh? If that would then work exactly that way. There's no season mechanic, Kuza. Sorry, in case you missed this already. Heads up, there's no season mechanic. What you see is what you get. You're either going to be able to make builds with what you have, or you suck, right? There's no, oh no, demons have invaded the world. Here are demonic powers that make everything stronger. Here's your little robot spider companion that is mean. So yeah, no seasonal mechanic. In case you missed that completely. Okay, we have the focus glare. That's just more damage every second. I mean, that's a nice damage bonus. Okay, you can now summon multiple Profane Sentinels, but you can no longer redirect their gaze. Profane Sentinels deal damage and fire extra blasts at any nearby stealth enemies. Oh, that's stupid. You have to make the enemy stealth. Demonic Glare. Profane Sentinel is now a direct eye blast attack that deals damage and transforms you to demon form. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, being able to shoot lasers out of demon form, together with the Tyranny's Grasp that also turns you to demon form, sign me up, right? I would like to absolutely demon form laser blast out. That would be a fantastic thing to do. I mean, I guess Profane Sentinel, single target, glaring. But again, the choice goes for Rampage, because either we're going to go for the Shockwave Demon or we're going to go Demonic Smash Leap around. Good. Then we have the potential best skill, which could be the Sigil of Summons, right? Sigil of Summons is a bit tricky. Sigil skills. They're intriguing, right? We have to start with a Sigil of Subversion first. That's it, Sigil of Subversion. It says, create a subversive ritual for 10 seconds that hexes enemies. Hexed enemies have an increased critical hit chance against them. Killing 8 enemies or demons within fuels the ritual to send forth shadow trails for 8 seconds that grant you 1 stack of shadow form every second while in them. Sigil grants movement speed. Sacrifice of your max life to instantly trigger each of Sigil's subversion's kill. Costs up to 48 total. Okay, Sigil trails. Sigil can now be placed at long range. Wow, that seems so terrible. I mean, seriously, that just does not seem interesting at all. Maybe I'm just too stupid to understand why this skill is good. Sigil trails now last longer and extend away for when you're near their ends, while within a trail, your shadow form loses no stacks while moving. Okay, that's nice. Sigil trails teleport non-boss enemies back to the ritual area. And Sigil of Subversion now creates lava trails that deal damage. Ooh, that's cool. Still don't really see what this skill is meant to accomplish. Right, the problem is these are all like layered up and layered up and layered on skills doing the same thing. I mean, instead of casting Sigil of Subversion, I would more certainly spam like my core skill. I mean, every 10 seconds, I guess you'd have to activate the Sigil to then have it out. But it doesn't really feel too hard. I mean, not terrible, but not too hard. Then I'd rather look at something like the Sigil of Summons, because this one is great. Create a binding ritual for 10 seconds that extends the duration of your summons. Killing enemies or demons within fuels the ritual to summon a demon for 20 seconds, which attacks nearby enemies, dealing 60% damage per hit. Now, it says killing 8 demons or enemies or demons within. So again, what do we do, chat? Bombardment. If I throw Bombardment, I throw 9 demons at the same time. So if the Sigil of Summon is on the enemies, and I throw Bombardment in, and the Bombardment explodes 9 times, shouldn't there be instantly the Sigil of Summons activated? That's my assumption. So I throw 3 lesser demons inside, splatter, 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 and it instantly activates, right? Okay, then we got the specializations here. Enemies within Sigil summons take 25 increased damage from your lesser demon skills. Awesome. Right? That's killer. So I like that. We got stronger summon. Sigil summon deals increased damage, but requires more kills per summon. Or Sigil summon active cooldown is reduced by 3 seconds when your greater demon dies. I mean, preferable, I would always like to have this up. So I guess cooldown. Then we get Feeding Frenzy. Now summons up to 2 additional demons, 5 in total. When Sigil summons demons kill enemies, they all gain attack speed. That one is bad. Because, let's be fair, we should have a nice attack speed bonus already. I don't see where Feeding Frenzy would actually work all too well. I just can't see it being, like, exceptional. So here, he throws in the Fallen, right? And the Fallen die. And then he just activates the Sigil to, like, summon a demon. Right? Now, we get the Shadow form. Sigil summons requires 12 kills to summon 2 Dark Succubi, which fire Abyssal Bloodstars, dealing 90% damage and inflicting enemies to take an additional 180 damage when they try to attack. Oh, Sigil of Summons is now an Abyss skill. So you can put down the Sigil of Summons, you spam Bombardment 2 times, right? And then with Bombardment 2 times spammed, you have the Succubi already. You should really fast summon them. I've seen gameplay of the Succubi, so they do respective damage. The last version would be the Summon Hellworm, and I think this is actually the one we're looking for. Because Sigil of Summon now requires 16 kills to summon a Hellworm that mimics your attacks. Okay, now do I understand this correct? Because we have seen this gameplay in the Warlock presentation, right? Where is Diablo 4 Warlock Reveal. There was, I think there's Sigil of Summons puking that I am referring to. Where is the freaking Warlock reveal, ladies and gentlemen? YouTube.com/Diablo. Okay. By the way, hi. Happy to see so many of you here today. Being interested in, hopefully, the Warlock presentation we have for you. So there was the Warlock, right? There was control, demon form. I'm not sure if it was in this one or if it was in the 30-year anniversary presentation. That wasn't in this. Was in this one? Was in the 30th anniversary spotlight? Because they presented the Warlock to us. No, they didn't show gameplay there. But where did they show the gameplay again? Because I know they did. They did show gameplay of the Warlock. Where he just spews forward tons of demons. Which one was it again? Oh, it was probably during the Warlock reveal. During the actual Warlock reveal stream. Warlock deep dive, Wayne. It was during this one. Let's see. Can you link this video, please? Which one? The one with all the skills in it? The one we're using here for all the skills. This is from Mr. Macrobio Boy, one of our fellow creators, who was lucky enough to have some review access. So he has all the skills. Actually, not review access. He traveled to Blizzard. I did not travel to Blizzard because I gotta admit, I just didn't want to go. I had other things to do than travel to Blizzard. So yeah, we have the Warlock here. It was the fire. I'm trying to find the moment where he summons the... here we have some information on the soul shards as well. See, this was the Legion shard. Casting a greater demon skill increases lesser demon skill cast speed by 25, cooldown rate by 20. When 50 of your lesser demons die, your next greater demon skill has no resource cost. Hey, this one says 50. Okay. But this one that we have here says 200. I wonder which one of the ones is the accurate run. Because I've seen now multiple in different like versions of the game, right? The shadow. That's the Infernal Hound, by the way, that you can ride on. This is the Legion playstyle. Okay, so yeah. Here's Legion playstyle, and this is where we saw the Hellworm. Demons. That's Angron, by the way. And these are his vile children that are coming out of him. So the tiny poopy demons, right? This is the... Yeah, that's Angron. That's your lad. Man, the myth, the legend. Angron again. That's the Eviscerate. But we want the Summoning Circle. Not show the Summoning Circle? I was pretty sure they did. No, we have it here. Wait. There we go. So, Sigil of Summon Succubi, right? You summon, the Succubi come out. Easy. And then here, Sigil of Summons Hellworm. And they're exactly doing what I said. So they're throwing the barrage into the Sigil of Summons to activate it, right? Then they get the Hellworm, and the Hellworm will spew out the same demons you're doing. So what I wonder is, if I summon the Hellworm, and then the Hellworm says, regurgitate related demons as you cast lesser demon skills, if the Hellworm would then also cast the spews I'm talking about, right? If I barrage them out, do we get more barrages? That's at least the basic idea behind it, right? Good. Then we get the Sigil of Chaos. Sigil of Chaos creates a destructive ritual for 10 seconds that grants you volatility while within. Killing enemies or demons within fuels the ritual's chaotic hellfire, increasing the chance for each enemy to explode for 30% damage on death. Sigil now lasts after you leave the area. Sacrifice. We got empowered cast within sigils count as triggering 3 skills. None of this sounds too hot so far. While you're within Sigil of Chaos, you and your summons deal 204% damage to enemies when attacked. Sigil is now cast around yourself and instantly explodes your lesser demons within. Kills within now sent to deal damage. Doesn't seem too hot. Meat shields? Yeah, I mean, you can have the meat shields and they bonus explode. Yeah, you and your summons deal damage when attacked. But you gotta get attacked, I guess. And the interesting part is if you play this sigil, right? The Hellfire aura, where your lesser demons explode. And then you play the meat shield, where you continuously summon lesser demons around you. Then the lesser demons are going to be made, and they're instantly going to explode around you. And that's kind of, it's like a self-feeding loop, right? It's going to be like spawn, die, spawn, die. If that then is efficient or not efficient, I don't know. Okay, kills within sigils now send out 3 tendrils of abyssal smoke that deal damage. Sigil of Chaos is now... I'm just not convinced. I mean, maybe I'm just bad. Maybe I'm just wrong, right? But this doesn't seem too hot. This doesn't seem too hot. So I guess Sigil of Summons, we're back again, ladies and gentlemen. And now come the ultimates. And that is an interesting choice between Terror Storm and a Fiend of Abaddon. Okay. Now, Fiend of Abaddon is quite nifty. It summons this ginormous demon. Okay, cool. Especially the ginormous demon counts as a summon, so attack speed directly affects this. The more attack speed I have, the faster the Fiend of Abaddon will swing. And the Fiend of Abaddon actually says, Fiend deals increased damage for each nearby enemy present when it's summoned. Or Fiend of Abaddon increases the damage of your lesser demon skills again. So I could summon this Fiend, and then instantly, my Sigil of Summons that I would then feed into the Bombardment would deal more damage, right? Fiend of Abaddon deals increased damage against elites and bosses, or Fiend of Abaddon now costs 30 dominance and has no cooldown. So instead of 60 cooldown, I could have the Fiend of Abaddon up every 15 seconds to boost my Bombardment skills, if I then have 30 dominance, technically. In the first variant, if an enemy survives, then 5 hits from Fiend of Abaddon increases damage and duration subsequently. Now, the problem is, if I would go for Spiteful and Rage, I don't want to do the dominance, right? Because if I extend the duration, I don't see the reason to reduce the cooldown. Right? Does that make sense? I mean, sure, like, kind of cool, but yeah. I mean, what I like is that it says this here, it damage versus the target by 2%, so more hits, more damage. We could also summon the Shadow Fiend of Abaddon, that becomes an Abyss recast skill, and now summons a demon for 30 seconds that attacks for 325% damage per swipe. Recast to command the demon to do a massive smash that pulls in enemies and explodes for 500% damage. Seems nifty so far, but it also seems like it would interrupt my Bombardment playstyle. So if I want to just Bombardment, right, and I just want to go Bombardment crazy, casting then the Fiend of Abaddon would interrupt me from bombarding the enemy. Should I go with Captain America? I did not look at the nerfs and buffs for the Paladin, so I couldn't really tell you which one is the best option right now. Glade. I will do some homework on the Paladin. I will probably cover him as well now before release. No promises though, because I'm only one man that has so much time, right? I don't have infinite time. I cannot do all this stuff. I can only do this much. But I'll try to also cover that one. By the way, we completely forgot to that here. Lastly, we have Vanguard of Flames. Fiend of Abaddon becomes a Hellfire skill and summons a demon for 20 seconds that moves with you and attacks for 450 per swipe. So instead of this shadow dude that now does bonus damage that you can recast and explode, we're going to have this one that's pretty much stuck to our head as we're zooming around. Now, I don't think, I don't see where you would need that Fiend of Abaddon, because you are pretty much doing damage. How do I say this now? Like, you're probably going to summon it against bosses. You're not going to summon it against elites. So do we need it to come with us? Right? Is that a component that we require? I don't think so. Apocalypse. Create a massive sigil that detonates after 2 seconds, dealing damage to all enemies. The ritual does not benefit from cooldown reduction. The cooldown is 666, by the way. Apocalypse's final hit deals additional 50 of its damage split among all enemies. Enemies that survive Apocalypse take 100% increased damage from you for 2 seconds. This bonus lasts 200% longer against hexed enemies. That's kind of nice. I mean, you put down the sigil and the enemy takes 100% more damage, essentially doubling your damage. But it's only 2 seconds, which I kind of dislike, right? Apocalypse's final hit has a 20% chance to hit twice. Apocalypse deals up to increased damage the closer the enemy is to its center. You can now channel Apocalypse for up to 666 seconds to build up the final explosion and rain down brimstones, which deals 660% damage. Each second increases the final damage up to 660% bonus damage. Okay. If you say so. Is the brimstone Marine? Right? Is the brimstone Marine the doom bomb? Right? Then we get annihilation. Apocalypse launches a Hellfire blast with at least 20 stacks that deal 33% damage. Hellfire skills hits generate up to 100 stacks. Each stack increases the blast explosion size and damage by 40%. Okay. So you get to cast Hellfire skills to get stacks, to then cast your ultimate. Okay, and it just consumes all the stacks right. Okay, for one big boost. Okay. Then we get Minefield. Apocalypse becomes an Abyss skill, creating a field of abyssal mines, which arm after 0.8 seconds, and each deal 66 damage when enemy triggers them. That is a very harsh spread. I mean, that Minefield is essentially useless against a boss fight, right? Doesn't do anything. I'm severely unexcited. I mean, so again, I like the Apocalypse probably with the Annihilation, because if you're going to spam Hellfire skills, then we're going to use the Apocalypse to do like one big super blast, assumingly. Francisco, yes, we played a lot of Crimson Desert, but we pretty much, after 200 hours now, are ready to play other things. Right? Once you've done everything in a game, it's time to do other things. Also, Priest, happy you're enjoying the videos. Ready to bring out more. So now we got Terror Swarm, chat. And the interesting thing about Terror Swarm is it's also a greater demon skill. So it's a Demonology skill, okay? But Abyss instead of here summon. So it says summon a terror from the depths that deals 500% damage and spews a voracious swarm that deals 100% damage per bite for 15 seconds. So just put this down and it's like an actual Terror Swarm, right? It just eats the booty of the enemy. Terror Spawn Swarm periodically pulls enemies into the center of the swarm. Okay, Terror Swarm spawns and kills 3 lesser demons every second. That's what I found so interesting. So if I would put out the Sigil of Summons, that summons my Hellworm, and then I put the Terror Swarm on top, I would kill and summon 3 lesser demons at any given point. Killing and summoning 3 lesser demons would also allow me to fuel my Legion shard. Yeah. Could be a thing, but I'm not sure if it's a worth thing to do, right? Terror Swarm now bites up to 2 additional times per second, and Terror Swarm makes enemies vulnerable and causes them to take 20% increased damage from your Arcfiend skills. Arcfiend skills in this case would be the Rampage. That's it. The other stuff doesn't count as Arcfiend skills. Yeah. Now we can do Nightmare. Terror Swarm stays in place and deals damage per hit, or recast to prevent the swarm to move to your target. Don't like that one. Does seem uninteresting, right? So we can move it around. Then you cast it and it just moves wherever you want it. But I use it against bosses, so I don't see the moving around again as necessary. Then we have Devouring Swarm. Terror Swarm starts smaller and weaker, but grows up to 3 times as it feeds on enemies. Upon reaching maximum size, Swarm split off. Another smaller swarm can have to 3 active swarms. I kind of like the idea of it, right? It grows, it grows, it grows, and then boom, like 1 swarm, 2 swarm, 3 smaller swarms. What I wonder is what happens if it eats like your own minions. So it says feeds on enemies. Sadly, it can't eat itself. Eating itself would be kind of intriguing, right? As it just extends in size. Donnie, thank you for the 7 beautiful months. Pancake, also thank you for the 66 months. Appreciate it. Lastly, we got Searing Infestation. Terror Swarm stays around you and deals damage per hit. Terror Swarm is a Hellfire skill. Now, I'm simply not sure if the actual demon summons could be useful for this, right? If you say it spawns and kills 3 lesser demons every 3 seconds, if that would help us in some way with our whatever we're doing. Problem is that the Arcfiend simply gives our lesser demon skills 20% bonus damage, and that would make our Rampage hit harder. Spiritborn is the monk equivalent charm. Then we have Metamorphosis, okay, ladies and gentlemen. And Metamorphosis says, transform into a demon and gain demon form. All Arcfiend demon form skill variants. A special melee basic attack that deals damage. All overridden skills will be at least the same rank as Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis grants increased damage for each bonus maximum life you have. Grants increased maximum life, or grants increased damage when you're reduced below your maximum life. Metamorphosis makes you unstoppable. Now, if I'm not mistaken, if you use Metamorphosis, it replaces kind of your skills, right? So if you, let's say you play Eviscerate, right? If you play Rampage, it will always be Demonic Smash, right? So you can't not get that one, I assume. Delavo, when I meant Lesser Demon, it's about Barrage, Bombardment here. Bombardment gets boosted by the Lesser Demon, and that's our main skill for the build. Okay. Sin Demon. Casting Arcfiend skills during Metamorphosis grants Sin. Up to 20 stacks. When you have Metamorphosis, each Sin can be consumed by casting non-Arcfiend skills to generate 3 Dominance and Wrath. Okay, that's not bad. So we go Demon. We have all our Demon skills. We can spam Demon skills, obviously. Then with Sin, we get the 20 stacks. With Destruction Demon, we have Metamorphosis adds its ranks to Hellfire skills and only replaces non-Hellfire skills. Metamorphosis grants a volatility while active, and each Hellfire skill cast increases your damage by 8%, but burns you for 8% of your max life for 3 seconds. Intriguing. Terror Demon. Metamorphosis adds its ranks to Abyss skills for 15 seconds and does not replace any skills. Metamorphosis grants 4 Shadow Form stacks every second, and Abyss skills do not break its stealth. Metamorphosis is now an Abyss skill and has a 30-second cooldown. This is probably going to be one of the more interesting skills to work with once you have it, to really see what you can all empower with the Metamorphosis, right? But so far, I would go back to Angram. I would go back to Fiend of Abaddon. The problem is that we don't have the slots to put every skill in, right? So we can do... You can do the Bombardment as our main skill. Then we can have Rampage to boost the damage of Bombardment. We need the Sigil of Summons to have our summons go crazy. You want to have Fiend of Abaddon to Fiend of Abaddon. And then you probably want to play Angram, because that's just what it is. Like, you have these special demons that you get from the Legion shards. So I guess with the Legion shard, I would want to have then Angram. And that leaves me only with 1 skill free, right? So with Bombardment, Rampage, Sigil, Angram, and Fiend of Abaddon. Ultimately, you could use Tortured Wretch. But unless we find a way to make Wrath, because you need a Wrath production somehow, right? You're kind of forced to play Command Fallen. But I hope that we can, like, make Wrath somehow. By the way, the screen broke. Let's fix it. Screen fix. So I wonder if we have enough to create Wrath. Because I don't want to use the Command Fallen every second, right? Manga, honestly, the teleport skill is only as useful as you might have resources to actually play, right? If you don't have resources to play, how are you going to use that then? That's the big question. Because I don't know how much passive Wrath generation. Does Warlock have passive resource generation or not? Right? That's a big question. Or is it really only... I think Warlock has passive resource generation too. I'm just not sure if you can get enough to just use that, right? I mean, when I watch here's some Summoner Warlock gameplay that you can find online, right? There's some where like you have here you have the Fallen together with the Bombardment. Here's the Dominance. We get the other demons. So you do seem to be able to continuously have a field of demons up, because as you can see there's pretty much always the big brute with you, right? Always some form of the bigger brood. There's always some form of the demon sword swinging around with you. So kind of like all of this does seem to nicely flow into each other. Warlock seems like a better summoner than Necro. I don't think so, personally. I think Warlock is a cool summoner, but it's like not a real summoner, right? Because these are all temporary summons. They're not there. You just summon them just to then have them vanish, and then summon them to have them vanish, to summon them to have them vanish. Right? That's that. We quickly right back, chat. Grabbing one from upstairs. Everyone, quick toilet break. I'll take 2 seconds. Hi. So. Let's find Warlock uniques. Because I'm not sure how many exist, right? So we have the Cowl of Malefic Torment. Hex dooms enemies below a threshold of life, maintaining the hex and dealing a portion of Doom's damage every second until they die. Doom deals increased damage. That would be for the Doom basic skill, chat. Cage of Madness. Your evade transforms you into an angry lunatic for up to 15 seconds that explodes, dealing commands fallen damage. And increasing by 100% for every second you're transformed for. While you're an angry lunatic, your movement speed is increased by 60 and you periodically spawn mini lunatics that seek enemies. Command Fallen deals 340% increased damage. Damn. That one is interesting, because if you're using the Command Fallen skill, you can already get 30% bonus damage, 20% bonus damage, and 136% bonus damage. So with this helmet, our basic skill can have 500% bonus damage. Problem is we don't really have like many aspects to work with, right? Chest armors. We got Agrim's Schism. It says Agrim and its summons deal 50% increased damage. You're additionally summon Agrim's other half and gain second charge of Command Agrim. But what is Agrim's other half? That doesn't tell us anything, right? Other unique not available yet. We have Gauntlets of Sheol. Summoning Fiend of Abaddon sacrifices all other greater demon summons, dealing Fiend of Abaddon's damage them and increasing his damage by 25 per demon killed. The gauntlets would probably work with this one. If you summon here, if an enemy survives more than 5 hits from Fiend of Abaddon, then each subsequent hit increases its damage versus that target by 2% and extends the lifetimes by 2% at 2 seconds up to 60. If you could summon a very big Agrim with the Gloves of Sheol here, right? Then I would assume that you could do quite some damage with that, right? Assumingly. Don't see like really another option than that with this skill. Do we have other gloves? Please show me other gloves. Weird skin. Oh no, that's weird skin. Okay. Pans. Cabrax's Will. Wall of Agony gains the Fallen Army variant for free and deals increased damage. Wall of Agony is still useless. Abodian is the dog, the fire dog, if I'm not mistaken. deals increased damage. After commanding Abodian ends, you connect with a fire chain that deals command Abodians drag damage. None of these uniques seem too exciting so far from what we have. Weapons. We have the Sword of Justice. That's the new one-handed mythic. Defeating an elite pack reduces your skills cooldown by 10 seconds for 12 seconds, right? So you pretty much can have all your cooldowns just reduced by 10s. Spinehoff Torment. Hell Fracture deals increased damage and every third cast creates a triple. Oh my lord. That's my second build, chat. The Spine of Tahamet Hellfire. Let me show you Hell Fracture once again for the people that missed it. Hell Fracture was a really cool skill because you pretty much cast a Hell Fracture and then you cast a second Hell Fracture and that one will recast the first Hell Fracture and then every successful cast of Hell Fracture will trigger the other Hell Fractures. And you're pretty much like, see, this is what you're going to be planning to do, to just do Hell Fractures into Hell Fractures. And if you can now spam Hell Fracture and every third of Hell Fracture creates a triple Hell Fracture right away. That's awesome. We like to see that. Very nifty, fun build thought already. As an offhand, we get the Eye of Baal. Soul Shard skills and their demons deal 80% damage. Casting a Soul Shard skill increases all your damage by 10 for 15 seconds up to 50. Very useful, considering that we can just spam away with our Agrim to get more lesser demons, and then with more lesser demons, we just, yeah, sure, why not? I like that. As a ring, we have the Seal of Open. Profane Sentinel deals increased damage and summons an additional eye. Nope. You freeze effects cause enemies to permanently take increased damage. Nope. The frickin' Sigil. Sigil of Summons deals increased damage, and you can summon up to 3 additional Demon Swarmers, which kills outside the ritual. I really believe in the Sigil of Summons being insane, so that one is going to be very useful. Amulets. What do we have here? We got nothing. Bloodmad. Darkrens. I can't see a single one where I'm blind. That seemed to be all Warlock uniques, but let's see if we can find more. I know we had 3 Warlock uniques that Blizzard represented to us, but I think we looked at them already, right? So that was the, Gauntlets of Sheol. That was the Agrim's Schism. Oh, the Seat of Horizon is missing. Aha. Because this one actually says your Demonology skills deal 0.75 increased damage per wrath you have, and you take reduced damage per dominance you have. This is pretty good because our Bombardment is a Demonology skill. So with the Seed of Horizon, we have 100 wrath, right? That would be 75% bonus damage then. So if we have more than 100 wrath, if we are maximum wrath stacking somehow, you can get quite some damage already. There's also aspect of Apogeic Furor if you can find a way to spam your semi-spam your ultimate. No, Apogeic Furor is now a cooldown reduction. Casting an ultimate skill reduces the cooldowns of your other skills. Sir? Or for what do you mean, Apogeic Furor? We're going to start with Warlock. We're going to do a Summoner Warlock. I just have the problem that I don't have a travel skill right now. Because currently, the way how I have this set up, we do not have a jumping skill. Unless I remove my basic skill. So if I find a way to get rid of the basic skill. Or if I get rid of the Rampage, but Rampage seemed to be too good because Rampage had some really nifty bonuses going on that I kind of wanted to have it, right? So I'm not sure if we can say no to Rampage like that, or if we just literally have to keep it. I mean, technically we could use Rampage also as a jumping skill, right? But I'm not sure how good that is. We could technically use Nether Step, but yeah, we gotta find out what is worth it, what is not worth it. So let's see. Do we have more? Do we have more Warlock uniques? I'm trying to find a list of Warlock uniques if there's more. If, by the way, if you have a list of Warlock uniques, feel free to tell me. I'm trying to currently find the ones that are in the internet already. Here is another Spine of Torment. We had that. The Feckin' Seal. The Cabraxis. Ah, here's Cabraxis Wall. Chad. Cabraxis Wall says it's armor, pants. Wall of Agony gains the Fallen. Oh no, Cabraxis Wall was that Wall of Agony gains the thingies. No, so that was not new. Cage of Madness. We had that helmet. Agram Schism. Seed of Horizon. We have the Anathema of Primes. Hitting enemies with a core skill increases the damage they take from you per skill up to a maximum limit. Additionally, Arcfiend Demon Form skill variants are considered core skills and cost Wrath to use. There's 15 levels per skills. Yes, there's 15 levels per skills now. You have 83 skill points. You also have no more passives in the tree, which means, let's say I'm going to play my Bombardment. So I'm definitely going to put 15 points in, right? But that's 15, 16, 17, 18 points gone just to boost one skill to the max, right? Then I want to play my ultimate. So we're going to put another 15 in, then plus 1+1. So that's another 18. That's 36 skill points out of 83 gone. I want to play the Sigil of Summons. Obviously, another 15 in. Then with 1, 2, 3, whatever we choose for, right? Even more. So that's another 18 gone. And then you can essentially fully juice another one because that's 4 times 18, which is quite some skill points out of the window again. So you can't just like juice every skill with 15 points to the max. You still have to weigh out which ones do you want to juice to the max and which ones you don't want to juice to the max. For example, if I would now consider playing Rampage, I guess I would not make it as like just put 1 point in just to use it to then like have the other ones fully maxed out. I mean, I'm also not sure how much raw, like if we want the command lunatic then to be maxed out or not. If we want to have a travel skill, mobility skill, you get to choose which ones you really want to go the most for and which ones you don't want to. It's not that simple, right? You can't just do away. Now, we've been having here, so where was the last video that we had from the Warlock developer livestream? We're looking a bit at the Warlock summoner playstyle in general, what we had here. This was like, we had the Hellfire playstyle. We wanted to look at the Legion playstyle, right? So Legion Shard is summoning us Agram. These are all the demons. Here, that's the Legion playstyle here, ladies and gentlemen. So, for summons. That's my favorite skill. I'm gonna just bombardment everyone. So the command Agram skill, if I'm not mistaken, is the one where he spews out these tiny wretches. Because in between you see him go like, oh, and then just a bunch of these are flying forward. It's I think his command skill when he just like really yoinks out everything. This is him. right? Our good old. I love how he looks. He's beautiful. See, like here, that was the command skill. You see it? Like he's just spewing out demons and they're just come in. Then you get your commander, your big demon out. But you need dominance for that, right? Patch launching Berlin time 1 a.m. Yes, you're going to launch 1 a.m. at night. Then you're going to wait for 1:30 to make a seasonal character. Because you don't want a non-seasonal character. Yeah, the wall just seems completely useless. I'm sorry. I just won't accept that the wall is anything but useless. I don't know how the survival with a Warlock is, so that's kind of like harsh to say in the beginning, right? If it is useful or useless to kind of like go for something in that direction. What did we decide to call the Warlock, Chad? Not a Summoner Warlock, because Summoner Warlock was obviously not the thingy here, right? Here, so we get also from Riker. So we're just scrounging some videos. So this is actually Bombardment playstyle, right? It's sadly only around level 40 because that was what they could only play. So we got here the Wall of Agony, the Greater Demon, and then he has Bombardment as the main skill. So actually go in for Command Fallen to have them rotate around you. So we get our demons. And the interesting part, as I see here, summon a fallen lunatic that charges your targets, but every 1 second, Command Fallen passively summons a lunatic. So with Command Fallen being a passive that summons lunatics around you, you still have the option to summon them regardless on top. Right? It's a good thing. And then you pretty much spam the Bombardment whenever you have the Bombardment to yoink your doodle out. Right? My issue right now that I see is that Warlock just burns empty his resource so quick. So we gotta find a way for Warlock. There gotta be aspects to restore resource. I'm not sure if there's some. Let me see. I'm not sure if I have seen some Warlock endgame gameplay, if that makes sense. Where we have seen how the resources do move, because this is like the intriguing part. Like, sure, everything nice and dandy Andy, but I need to essentially see how does the Warlock play in the end game, right? How does the resource behave in the end game when you play him? Can you actually keep it up easily, or is this just going to be pain in the ass, right? I mean, for example, here you get yourself a hard mode level 19 Warlock, and you're just probably like from this is like your standard fallen skill cast, but like from one bombardment is like has you drained, sit there drained. I guess the advantage is that the dominant skills don't actually cost wrath. So when you're summoning your bigger demons in between, that's just not going to cost you, right? You're just going to do that. Is the dot thing with Werewolf going to be good? Transcendent? I gotta be tried. Transcendent. It's like a problem with the... with a lot of the Druid skills, we don't have the inside. We have barely any information of this. For example, for the Necromancer, we have 90% of the skill tree. Right? So if I go here for the build planner, Necromancer, we have like a lot, right? We get to know like all the core skills pretty in depth, apart from like mages, but that's fine. We have like some of the mage varines. We know how like goddamn like see this is like a lot that we know. Where with the druid we really don't. I mean, we know almost every single ultimate and those kind of things. But if we go for the druid, for example, a druid, we have trample, we have boulder, we have like wolf and ravens, then we have bulwark, and we have but not a single core skill pretty much. I mean, we had like landslide, the landslide varines, right? So that's that, but none of the other core skills, which is mighty sad. I mean, we've seen the uniques, yes, but yeah. we do a Barb preview video. We do have all the uniques for Barb, and we do have most of the skills for Barb. However, I am not the biggest Barb fan. It's not that I hate Barbarian. I just don't vibe too much with it. So probably not going to do a Barb preview video. There's only that much I can make, right? I only have that much time to make that many videos. So I probably won't just have the time to make the Barb video, even though if I wish to. I mean, even if I now stop streaming and 24/7 just create videos, I don't think I can make a preview video for every class. I'm sorry. They're pushing Poison to be good this season. Poison will work, Transcendent. The Poison will be a thing. There will be a Poison build for Druid. However, the question is not if there will or will not be a Poison build. Like, can we go all the way to Torment 12? Thing is, Torment 12 is only Pit 100, okay? Now think back. Current builds that could do Pit 100. If you think for every class, which build could I do to do Pit 100? I mean, in Druid, there was Boulder. If I push Boulder hard enough, I could do Pit 100. I could obviously do Pulverize, right? That's a Pit 100 build. I think Earth Spike or / Landslide was enough. Stoneburst could have done Pit 100 too. I think there was a Shred build for Pit 100 currently. Companion Druid, if I'm not mistaken, also cleared Pit 100. I mean, with rather good gear, but that doesn't change the fact that it did clear it. So there are already quite some builds out on each class in Season 12 that can actually clear Pit 100 right now. And now we're getting Season 13, and Season 13 has like the levels extended out further, so we have 10 more levels, and we have even more scaling possibilities. I assume most builds will actually be able to get somewhere close to Torment 12. I mean, it would be a true shame if there's only going to be like 1 or 2 builds per thingy, jiggy-majiggy, that can get there, right? That would be rather disappointing to the max. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, here is a German reviewer. One of the few ones. This is from, what is it from? It's from GameStar. And GameStar, Palace of the Deceiver, Torment 12. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you see this correctly. This is Palace of the Deceiver, Torment 12. And this would be Dreadclaw Warlock. So we've said it before, Dreadclaw could be a good skill. And when we have Dreadclaw in here, we have the Eye of the Deceiver beaming. We have the Shadow Ritual. And if you can, like, look at the life. So this is here, 40 billion. Look at the damage here. He's spamming it out. Spamming like no tomorrow. And look at the damage, 51 billion, 50, 70 billion, 66, 77. So that seems to work very good. I mean, the damage potential is there for Warlock, but it's also crazy how much HP the Belial has, right? So this is Torment 12 plus 9 Belial. What does plus 9 mean? Plus 9 is from the War Plans, because War Plans now give us XP for each activity, right? And you can make lair bosses harder for more loot. Mans. So this is like an absolute maxed out super like Warlock. I mean, you're not going to get this in the first 5 hours of the game, right? But look at the damage. It's quite nasty. Interesting part is that he can keep the Wrath up. So I told you this before. I would like to know how much Wrath could he keep. I gotta move my sponsor window. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. That is actually there. Please excuse me. Don't hurt me. I'm gonna move into top right corner for now. So look at the Wrath. This is the Wrath. And he just goes spamming away. The Wrath doesn't move, so there does seem to be ways to maintain your Wrath, right? That's good. So that was at least a Torment 12 preview. I'm not sure if they have more Warlocks. So this is a Warlock with Aggro, with demons, right? But that's around the level 20 stage. But it looks beautiful around the level 20 stage as well. With color oversaturated. But I like that they showed us actually tier 12 content. We need to find more tier 12 content though, right? To know what is all possible. Because otherwise, boring. But as always, oh, there's a tier here. Here's another tier 10. See at the end of the video, you have like how tier 10 would look with a Warlock, a little bit. And it's all Shadowclaw, right? I'm not going to do Shadowclaw. I'm going to do summons at first. But if you thought for yourself, hey, is a Shadowclaw playstyle possible? Is a Dreadclaw playstyle a thing you can do? Yeah, you can. So if Full Shadow was your idea of fun, it's available. It seems to be available without using basic skills as well, which I deem perfect. Do you think Blizzard will release full trees today? Blizzard has absolutely zero reason to release full trees today. There is not a single reason to do this. Like, for the casual player, it doesn't matter if you have a build tree yet or on release, because you can take your time to do things. I mean, the only people that want full trees would be me. No, but like really, that like guide makers want full trees, obviously, but you're gonna log in, you're gonna play. There's I don't just see a reason for them from any standpoint to release this. Tier 12 is comparable to Pit 100. Yes, Jets, it is. So I'm not too fuzzed about things. I mean, we can check more Lord of Hatred reviews, by the way. If you know another Lord of Hatred review, by the way, that has more Warlock gameplay in it, please do tell me. I mean, I have watched most of them that I could find in the internet 4 days back, but it's, you know, my memory is short. So so finding and remembering where all the potential gameplays for Warlock were I found summoner wise. Past my memory already once again. Seems like a lot did not play too much. A lot of them did not play too much with our beautiful plans, but we don't care, Chad. We're not getting disencouraged. We just really got to decide what travel skill we want or not have. So again, we're gonna so far go for Command Fallen with Bombardment, Rampage, Sigil Summon, Fiend of Abaddon, and Agrim. One thing that we need to know is if it's now when 200 of your lesser demons die or 50 of your lesser demons. Right? Mastermind will be the best for leveling with the AoE. Well, I mean, you gotta consider, user, that AoE doesn't really matter for leveling. I mean, leveling is about finishing your whispers and blasting through hell tides. Is so and so. I mean, with a bit more AoE, you could gain a bit more time. It's more about resource management, to be fair, right? If you have better resources, if you have a better way to restore Wrath, if you can spam more abilities, if you have more abilities that don't cost Wrath, you're better off. Kind of. Will Whirlwind Barbarian be stronger than Summoner Necro next season? That is a question I cannot answer you, sir. We don't know how multipliers will go down for real as we then see them go down. A free Fiend of Abaddon sounds sick. Yes, a free Fiend of Abaddon does sound sick. The basic thing is, so this says when 200 of your lesser demons die, your next greater demon skill cast has no dominance cost. It seems a bit too excessive because 200 lesser demons is a lot, right? It seems like that it used to be 50 lesser demons because let me show you. Wait, there is gameplay. Okay, I'm gonna have to keep this on the side. Summoner Warlock. Where is a Summoner Warlock? Because if you look at Summoner Warlock right now here, this is gameplay from the preview event, right? You have these stacks. This is 28 stacks, right? And he's going around. And we have the Fiend of Abaddon, which obviously sucks empty your whole dominance. And currently we have the Greater Demon here. Oh god, I keep forgetting his name. Oh, what was his name, chat? Name was... Or Rampage, sorry. So yeah, we have Rampage here. Rampage clearly costs dominance as well. So whenever he gets like to 50 stacks, so now he has enough cost to like summon it, right? So you could go for the dude. But it's like, this is like 50 stacks, it seems. And then you can summon this for free. So right now it is 50 stacks. In this gameplay, at least. And this is the gameplay that is from January, right? Now, I haven't paid attention to... Yeah, it's like the problem. I need to find a review where someone is using late game demons as well, because the review content, I think, is a patch further than the content from the preview event. So there's the preview event, there's the review, right? And I literally need to find a late game Warlock, Summoner Warlock play, where I can see if it's still 50 or if it's up to 200. I heard in Rage Gaming that Warlock shards are tied to a skill that get from class quest. Aaron, in case you missed it, you can only get 5 skills. Not true, but yeah, you can only get 5 skills. This skill you see here, the Summon Agrim, is from your shard. Okay? Is from your shard. So each shard has a skill baked into it. Has a skill baked into it. Have a picture for you from this. I have too many windows open. So they show the shards here in the Warlock presentation from back in the days, right? Where each of the shards here, there is shards. So these shards here, they do show when you hover over the main shard. I'll go with fragments, I think. Here, grants the summon Agrim skill, and each one has a demon they summon. So yes, 5 skills plus your demon skill, because obviously you want to have your big demon skill, right? You don't want to. But here in this content, so this is the reveal content, okay? So this is the Diablo 4 developer update from the season 12. This is from March, right? This is the March content 1 month ago. And it does show the 50. And the 50 seems reasonable. Because what the fuck do you mean 200? 200 is not reasonable. That would make the whole Legion chart shit. Right? I mean, think about it for a second if we compare the shards. So, one of them says, while in demon form, casting Arcfiend skills additionally summons the Arcfiend demon, right? So, you just instantly get a cool bonus. You don't even have to do more. You have Mastermind, which recast skills no longer break Shadow Form spells at the cost of 2 stacks of Shadow Form per cast, while you have Shadow Form Abyss skills deal more damage. Okay, you instantly have this too. And the Ritualist has Overpower go crazy. And I kind of feel like saying, hey, every 200 demons. Bullshit. Every 200 demons, my ass. This absolutely not seem feasible. Right now, every 50 seems like really the thing, because it would create an actual cool gameplay loop, right? Where you go forward, you kill things, you have your Agrim, the Agrim spoos out like forward to all the tiny demons. The tiny demons die, you make more tiny demons, you stack like this up to 50 really quick. Then you get a free cast that could then either be your Rampage demon or it could be your ultimate, right? It does seem reasonable. Will Summon a Necro even be viable in Season 13? Yes, Lango, it will be beyond viable. You can have at least 30 plus summons. Right now, you're limited to, what, 13? 11, 12? So I do humbly believe that this one is probably not the actual, right, Legion chart combo. But I'm scrounging here if I can find some more updated Summoner Warlock content. The problem is that a lot of these videos, they source like from the same sources. So yeah, it's difficult to find like even more source information, right? Because everything is kind of like the same thing. And then you have like problems to find more. I mean, here's another different clip, though. So here's another different clip. This is from Rage Gaming, as you say. Here we can see the other shard. So here's again. This is like this is not the same video, right? It's a different video. And we can see here the 50 lesser demons as well. How does the double resource feel like, Roberto? The double resource is quite simple. You have your rage refilling and your dominance also automatically refilling. Your dominance can also be juiced by stuff. So, for example, you have skills like the Command Fallen that we're using, and the Command Fallen has currently a boost here. Every 15 times you hit enemies with Command Fallen, you gain 1 dominance. And then you passively gain dominance plus dominance for killing things. I'm not sure if you, like, if you kill an enemy, if that also gives you dominance. But I think you get +1 per second. Yeah. +1 per second, if I'm not completely mistaken. I'm trying to do bonus research on the side. Plus then the dominance, you get bonus from this. Plus then the free casts you get on top from your Warlock Legion shard. Will Bombardment summons count towards the shard? Yes. So the Bombardment smashes down 4 demons into the ground. Each demon from Bombardment is a lesser demon. So if we slam down Bombardment, if we make Bombardment stack, and if we bring Bombardment up to 9 demons per cast, then you're going to do 1 cast, 9 demons, 2 cast, 9 demons, 3 cast, 4 cast. Meanwhile, your Command Fallen that you could then put into the Hellfire Fallen variant have the opportunity to generate more lesser demons that die. Meanwhile, you have the Sigil of Summons that generates more lesser demons that die. Ergo, you should be able to get this 50 summon quite a lot to then potentially use your ulti many times and or to summon quite some Rampage demons on top. Which begs the question again, which kind of thingy should you do for Abaddon, right? To have him cost 30 dominance? Because you don't want to spam him, right? I mean, this one keeps Abaddon up for 60 seconds. This one keeps Abaddon up for 30 seconds. And Abaddon itself would usually be up for 15 seconds. I obviously don't want to cast this guy every 15 seconds, so I guess the Spiteful Enrage is still one of my more favorite choices here, to then be able to spam, like, the Rampage demons more, rather than that, right? If I just go down against a boss, like, if I was fighting a boss, and if I was spamming my Bombardment, to then go, like, Rampage, like, Bombardment, 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 Rampage, Bombardment, 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 Rampage, Bombardment, and so on. It's not 200, sir, it's 50. So this 200, I'm not sure why D4 builds has the 200 in. That must be very old data mine info. But yeah. With Bombardment and the Sigil of Summon, are you not getting 18 demons each cast? Technically, that could be possible. But Neldrin, that would assume endgame. So is 50 demons a bit low in the consideration with Sigil of Summons and Bombardment? No. Because you have to understand that this would be towards the endgame. And towards the end game, you want it to be insane. Because why else would you play it? I mean, like, compare the Legion Shard that gives us a free cast of our ulti. Compare this to some other passives that you have seen out there in the world, right? This is your whole specialization of your character. That's the whole fucking thing and nothing more. Getting a free cast. Yay. It's not that crazy. I mean, look at Paladin and his 4 oath. Right? Our good old friend, the Paladin. Who can choose between four goddamn nukes. And oh no, I get a free cast every 50 demons. We should nerf that, right? But let's ignore the, I don't know, the Judicator, the Juggernaut, the Zealot, the ex-Disciple that actually got nerfed a bit, right? It's not like it's insane. How do you summon Agrim? You summon him by by choosing the shard. Jugs. So if you put the Agrim skill in your skill bar, Agrim will be summoned. And he's like a golem that's with you. And then if you press the skill again, it's the command Agrim skill that's going to have him spew forward a bunch of vile children. Unless you choose spawn fragment, which is going to have all your vile children explode. Yeah. So Agrim is just with you. He's a dude. He's running around. He's a greater demon. He's a summon too. And since he's a summon, he profits from... shenanigans. So many cool demon choices. Actually, not that many, Mayo. We went just through every single skill. Right? So in case you missed it, we just went to every single skill. And most of them are for demon playstyle lackluster. It's just like for full demon playstyle, it kind of crystallizes out that you would like to use the bombardment, that you'd like to use the rampage, that you definitely want to ignore the goddamn wall of agony. I mean, what the fuck is wall of agony gonna do for you? Absolutely nothing. Squat all, shit face. You're probably not going to play the Tortured Wretch, even though it seems fun. So if we could now summon like multiple Tortured Wretches, okay, and I could like spam these Tortured Wretches out and have like multiple with the chainsaws, that could be interesting against bosses. Like I fill a field with Tortured Wretches. That kind of be cool, but I don't think I've seen ever more than one Tortured Wretch, right? It's mostly just that. So haven't like how do we decide to call that summoner warlock, by the way? I think we called it demonology, right? Because that's the problem. This is a demonology skill, lesser demon. The summoner doesn't add up, right? Warlock. I'll have to find a better name for this. Do you plan to play from 1:30? Yes, we're going to play from 1:30, but we're going to log in at 1 a.m. To straight up play, to straight up check out skill trees and see things, right? Wall gives demons, but it's useless because in order for the wall to give you demons, the demon wall would have to die first. So you would have to have a wall, and then you would have to play Fallen Army, and then you would get demons out of the wall, kind of. It's not really worth it. Gavain, thank you for the 16 months of support, by the way. Gavain, sorry for missing that earlier. Appreciate it, brother. It's kind of like a horde summoner. Yeah, but it doesn't have like the summon tag on any of this, right? So do we call it demonology character? But we can't call it a lesser demon because it also has greater demons. That's a problem. But demonology is like all skills. Like this is a demonology skill. This is demonology skill. This is demonology skill. Why is everything demonology? I guess I'm going to call it summoner. What's left for me? Overflow, they with 113 months. You crazy, sir. I hope the new work is going very well and you're not overdoing yourself. But yeah, this is a pretty like step forward already on how I wish to play my summoner. I know there's like another video that I saw this morning about summoner warlock, like a longer one where we can see some summoner gameplay. But I'm trying to find it. I have like one with a weird overlay, but I know that gameplay is sourced from somewhere else. Right? It's not sourced from there. It's Mastermind, Ritualist. And when the gameplay is like sourced from somewhere else, that's a problem. Because there's like weird overlays over it. Can't get the original one. Sad face. Also, no one is like playing the combination I've seen. I don't typically like Necromancer. I'm excited to try it on Lord of Hatred. You should. The Necro has so much to offer. There is so many interesting things, especially how the summons work now. Especially since you're not losing the summons. So the most important part about the Necro is that you can sacrifice all your summons for the maximum bonuses with the Book of the Dead. So I can go sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. But despite going for sacrifice, I can still use set summons, which is like really, really interesting. So I can be like, hey, I want my Golem to give me bonus attack speed, but at the same time, I still want my Golem to give me corpses. No problem, you can do that. I want my skeletal warriors to give me bonus shadow damage, but hey, I would still like them to do the Reaper cooldown reduction. And you can do that. You can focus your skeletons on target. Yeah, it's a command skill. Yes, it will jump your minions forward. Yes, the command skill has a cooldown, which is really annoying and stupid. I don't understand why that would have a cooldown. However, that's just nice to have, but it's not really why warriors are going to be interesting. There's just many cool things, generally speaking, for Necro, including here new gloves that give us even more skeletons, right? So that is where it gets like really cool. Because you have like, I don't know what they're called again. There are the Death Grip. That would give us another 6 warriors. So Death Grip could be plus 6 warriors. Then the base warriors are, I don't know how many. We could get another 3. So that's 9 warriors bonus. Then we have a helmet that gives us another 4 warriors. So that's plus 13 warriors. With a standard warriors being 3 or 4. You're sitting at 16 or 17 skeletal warriors already alone. And that's not even considering mages, right? And we could get even more mages. Did Blizzard get any ideas from you when they were doing the rework, Gaiman? I mean, we've always sent our feedback. If any of this feedback was taken into consideration, I cannot tell you. It's not like that we have taken Blizzard now, or we have told Blizzard now over 2 years that we need a command skill. And we've finally gotten it. So I don't know, maybe 2 years of yelling at them, and for every single patch asking for, could we finally please get, is there any chance that we could now finally maybe get, right? Could be that they then budged and gave us what we're looking for. Maybe. Okay, back to the Warlock chat. If we're considering that instead of 200, okay, instead of 200 shards, it is 100 shards. What are we going to do then? I mean, we still want to play Bombardment, that's for sure, because that's that. And we need the Sigil of Summons, because I think that Bombardment Sigil of Summons is going to be our Ultra Nuke. Okay? And we need to summon a Greater Demon, because casting a Greater Demon skill increases lesser demon skills cast speed by 25 and cooldown rate by 20. So if I summon a Greater Demon every now and then my Bombardment will be more spammable, and my Sigil of Summons will also have reduced cooldown, so I can use it more often, right? So that makes perfect sense to me to at least want these two, but we need a Greater Demon. Now you could say Fiend of Abaddon is the perfect Greater Demon to use, which is true. That's a Greater Demon, and if we make it cost dominance, we can use it quite often. So I should be able to every 10 seconds use the Fiend of Abaddon. Checkmate. We got this. However, we could obviously play Rampage 2 as a Greater Demon to be summoned. But if I use Rampage as a Greater Demon to be summoned, then I will not get anything for my... then I will not be able to play a travel skill because we have Agrim. Do I really want to play completely without a travel skill? I know how chat is. If I make a build without a travel skill, they're all going to lose their marbles. So I want to get rid of my basic skill. And I think that's for later. Do we know any aspects currently for resource? Right? Do we know any reworked aspect for resource? I mean, we have the aspect authority. That's more dominance, right? But the big part is we need a chance to restore, a chance to Shamambo Bambo, right? When we get Hellbound Commander, by the way, this is so useless because this increases the damage of my summons by 70%, right? But your Bombardment doesn't have a summon tag. Makes it kinda useless. Killing at least 30 enemies or demons within 10 seconds increases your damage by 10 seconds. Oh, that's kind of cool. That makes super sense, right? I can just kill everyone. You need something to restore your resource, and that repeatedly and very well. The travel skill on Warlock has some synergy with summons too, as they can travel with you and then increase the duration by 3 seconds. We don't need a summon duration increase. That's completely not helpful. Like, the problem is that you want to use respective skills. So you could use, for example, Rampage into demon form. That does work. So Rampage becomes a Hellfire mobility leap attack that transforms you into demon form, dealing 290% damage with 5% chance to grant you volatility. The thing is, if I would use the Rampage as a greater demon skill, just so I would actually use a greater demon skill so that I can actually then use every 10 seconds a greater demon skill to use my Legion shards, so then I'm kind of missing out on that greater demon rampaging around. But again, I don't necessarily know how useful it would be to have the greater demon rampage around or not. Right? Would you play Summon Witch Doctor in D3 without Spirit Walk? Sir, I never played the Witch Doctor in D3, so I'm not sure what that comparison has to do here. Also, this is D4, in case you have missed it. All in all, yes, I would play characters without movement skills. I mean, you have to understand that I've played Necromancer for like 70% of my playtime of all Diablo 4. So playing a class without a movement skill is easy. I mean, considering, let's say in the early game, ladies and gentlemen, okay? In the early game, we have to play Command Fallen. We are going for Bombardment. We got the Rampage. There is the Sigil of Summons. Then we got Field of Abaddon. And we have the Summon Angrim. Angrim is from Warhammer 40k. Now we're going to say, hey, it's totally possible that we actually get enough Wrath to spam our Bombardment, right? We're going to go for core skill, damage reduction, core skill, like resource reduction, that kind of stuff. And then we're going to somehow use resource here to help us, right? Not entirely sure. There's maybe a way how we can do this, right? Or not. But we'll have to see that we somehow restore resource. And then we could use Command Fallen, could go away after level 60 after we get the right aspect, and then we play Nether Step as our travel skill. Could work. Will you use the unique chest piece? I'm not sure how useful that one is, because Agrim's Chisholm says Agrim's and its summons deal 50% increased damage, okay? But our main damage is going to be Bombardment. Most likely. I'm not entirely sure if it is going to be the main damage, but from what I imagine for this build, if I spam against bosses, I would want to spam my Bombardment away like there's no tomorrow, without even thinking about anything else, right? With Agrim's Chisholm giving you 50% bonus damage to the summons of Agrim, and you additionally summon Agrim's other half and gain a second charge of Command Agrim, like, it does literally nothing for the Bombardment skill. However, since chest pieces have now completely random affixes, I mean uniques in general, and you can temper it, why would I play a normal item? Right? So unless I need a defensive aspect, correct? Unless I need a defensive aspect on any of my defensive slots, why would I not play whatever unique I can get my hands on, as whatever unique I can get my hands on will be able to get the same stats as a normal item, and the only difference is that I get a unique aspect compared to a chosen aspect. Right? There's a good defensive aspect for demons, you say. I mean, we got Fortify, we got damage reduction. We got damage reduction. Summoning a greater demon knocks down enemies around it for 5 seconds. Your lesser demon skills deal increased damage to crowd-controlled enemies. That would be a good one. I mean, it's crowd-controlled enemies, but with the stunning that we can do against opponents quite easily, or the slowing that we can do against enemies, and then we can try to nuke a boss into the stagger. That's kind of nice. Duration of volatility. You gain overpower for each 10 wrath you gain while at maximum wrath. Interesting. Hexed enemies. Battled. That's it. I just need to see the Warlock tempers as well, because right now this is a Demonology skill, right? And we have a lot of tempers in the game that say things like, I mean, I don't believe that there's tempers listed here, probably, right? So we have a lot of tempers that are like gain resource when you're using a Wrath skill, right? We also have lucky hit chance to restore Ace resource. We have cast ultimate skills to restore resource. So there is a way how we can potentially get our resource restoration without having to use our basic skill. For Wrath, use T-Bolt's Will Pans. For Wrath, T-Bolt's Will Pans require you to have T-Bolt's Will Pans. Yes, I agree. But you would also have to have a constant source of Unstoppable that you can repeatedly over and over again use. Which is, as you say, surprisingly the Wretch, but that would then again also require you to play the Wretch. So you could say, hey, you know what? Instead of Rampage, because Rampage doesn't do much for us, instead of, like, apart from Rampage summoning a demon, maybe the Wretch is even better because the Wretch is also a greater demon, right? So yes, technically you could use the Wretch, and the Wretch could make you unstoppable. And the Wretch would also increase in duration, and or you would have the enemy take more damage. Plus, the Wretch would anyways have a chance to eviscerate the opponent. So technically, the Wretch is slightly better than the Rampage, whereas Rampage, though, can eviscerate enemies for 1,280 damage, which is nice. But yes, you could play the Tortured Wretch, and then Tortured Wretch could become potentially your resource cost, but only if you then would actually have the T-Bolt's Will. The Lucky Hit resource was nerfed a lot, according to Woody. It's already nerfed a lot in the current season. Sir, the Restore Resource Lucky Hit is already nerfed right now. I mean, it's like 8 to 12 lucky resource restoration. But we don't know if the... Here, for example, Druid has a temper. And that temper is saying casting Wrath skills restores X primary resource. This is going up to 25 primary resource, if I'm not mistaken. So casting a Wrath skill restores 25, and your Wrath skill that you're using costs a grand total of 45. So if I have 2 tempers for Wrath skills, I cast Wrath skills for free. Ta-da. Which is kind of nice. That would then already, like, if we had a temper like this, work for Warlock plenty well. And I had just had another thought, but it slipped through my mind, so we don't know what we wanted to say just right now. And my mind is completely wiped empty. And I don't remember where I was getting at. I had another resource strategy ready. But for the love of God, I don't want to remember. Or I'll post another video. It's Hellfire skills for Warlock. Yomi. We have all the Hellfire skills. Every single Hellfire skill. Right, so again, like, if you want to see actually the skills isolated, and you want to know how the isolated skills all work, you have this video here from Mr. Macrobio Boy that really just show you how every single skill just simply works. What it does, how the variations work, and that kind of stuff. I mean, this is pretty much what we've been using for our homework right now, because it's just the most useful one. Not that other videos are not useful, don't get me wrong, but it's just the most useful one that literally just shows every single skill with all the variations in how it works, right? What's your thoughts on the Blasphemous fragment on the Warlock? Jesus, too many windows open. So, Blasphemous, which one was this one? Eviscerate, Hellguard, Warden, Subjugation, Blasphemous. Okay, so first you have Mastermind Shard, which has recast skill, no longer break Shadow Form, okay? And while you have Shadow Form, Abyss skills deal more damage, yeah. Then you have the Blasphemous, which says recast skills, hex enemies on hit, and increase the damage they take from your Abyss Demonology skills by 20. Yeah, that's insane. I mean, so recast skills, hex enemies. What does hex do? Hex is the passive that increases the critical chance against affected characters by 15, stacking up to 45. So if now your recast skills hex enemies, then you are able to just build up tons of bonus critical strike chance without having to have it on your gear. Thing is that Dreadclaws is not a recast skill, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, Dreadclaws is not a recast skill. But you could simply get something like I think you can turn the Profane Sentinel into a recast skill. You can turn the Sigil of Subversion into a recast skill. And you can turn your Terror Swarm into a recast skill so that you simply just do recast and then you spam your main attack and absolutely demolish an opponent. Right? Yukotai, good to see you there. Appreciate it. That's how I'm looking at it. And by the way, if you missed it earlier, chat, we've seen Torment 12 content of the Warlock, of the Dreadclaw Warlock, being absolutely insane. I think they might have changed Hex to increase Abyss skill damage taken. Have you a source for that, Jolie? Have you a source for that? Oh, well, that's, yeah, I know Scream Hearts. Oh, shit. Let's see if I can find that info sheet. The problem is we never know how old the information is, because the problem is that the Scream Hearts info sheet is from the preview event, if I'm not mistaken. And that preview event info sheet is... the preview event info is outdated, partially. So I'm not sure, Jolie, if that one is accurate. Hard to gauge, right? So not sure where we go with that right now. But Blasphemous could be what it is, right? Don't know. Don't know. We'll see. He updated later to this. Okay, that's good to know. So Hex could be increases Abyss skill damage taken against enemies based on their missing life. It would be nice. Hex is definitely a good choice, no matter what it ends up to, right? Do you think minions will be the best Necro build? I can't tell you if minions will or will not be the best the best Necro build. They will be definitely able to go for Torment 12. I can already say that. The thing, or the question is not if minions are the best, but what else could you play? Because they kind of torched the whole Shadow Blight playstyle. I'm not sure how well Shadow Blight will still work unless they baked it into one of the ultimates, into Soul Rift somehow. Because the Shadow Blight key passive is gone, and the Shadow Blight key passive is the only way how Necro can work. Which means we have the minion playstyle left. We have potentially the Bone Spirit, Bone Boom playstyle left, but also they took away the overpowers for that, so I'm not entirely sure how you want to make that one work right now, correct? Bone Spear has never been valid. Maybe Sever might become valid, but Sever's also a mobility skill right now. I doubt that Blood Surge will actually see play. However, I might be proven wrong. Bloodlands might actually be a thing, and Blight could potentially return, that it's finally doing some really, really cool things. But in all honesty, it just seems like that Minions is the most solid playstyle right now. The advantage of Minions has always been, in any class, that they just scale nicely, right? But if they didn't change the Paragon board on Necromancer and we still have the Cult Leader node, then Necromancer minions will always be the most easiest insane scaling build because you just get Cult Leader and you're good to go. What will be your first class possible build? I will 100% start with Warlock. This is out of the question. And we will 100% start with Demons because I want to bombardment the shit out of enemies. And I think this is going to be an absolute S tier super build. If I wanted to be safe, I would simply play Dreadclaws because Dreadclaws is like the most cookie cutter shit doing things. So I do assume that for most people, ladies and gentlemen, it would probably be the best to do a Dreadclaws build and not even ask a single question. If you just want to be very efficient, if you just want to have a good time, do that. That being said, I do also believe that we have an absolute banger going on with Hellfracture. I mean, I cannot see Hellfracture not be absolutely insane. I'm sorry, there's no way Hellfracture will not be banging, especially with the unique. So Hellfracture is a skill that explodes, and then explodes, and then explodes, and then explodes. So this is Hellfracture here. You summon the fracture. Then you summon another fracture, and summoning that other fracture erupts the first fracture. And then you summon another fracture, and it erupts the first and the second fracture and itself. And then you would summon another fracture, which then erupts this, 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 and that one. And then you summon another one where one gets deleted and comes in here, right? So it just goes pop, 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 pop. If you put this now on the enemy, you're going to have fracture number 1, which explodes a ground total of 4 times. Then you have fracture number 2, which explodes a ground total of 3 times. And fracture number 3, which explodes 2 times. And fracture number 4, which explodes 1 time. And then you keep going like this, right? So you always have, like, in this chain, you always have a fracture. You always have 1 explosion, 3 explosions, 6 explosions. You always have 10 explosions per click. Did I do my math correct? The first one is 4 times. The second one is 3 times. The third one is 2 times. And the fourth one, yeah, you always have 10 explosions per click of fracture. And this is considering that you don't have the unique item. Because if you then have the unique item that keeps exploding fractures. Bump. So the unique item for this is called a Spine of Tathamed, which would say Hellfracture deals 120% increased damage. Anyways, good. But every third cast creates a triple fracture. Now, I would assume, since I have to look at the wording, it said, summon the fires of Hellfractures, the fracture remains, and explodes up to 2 more times when you cast Hellfracture again. Now, what I wonder is if this counts as casting 3 fractures, or if this counts as casting 1 time and then getting 3 fractures, right? So you would do 1 fracture, second fracture, then the third cast would create 3 at the same time. And then the fourth cast would explode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fractures in total. Yeah. Right? So that should kind of work nice. I mean, this one, the Spine of Tathamed, if I get this, I'm have to try out a Hellfracture build. Because if my math is mathing in my brain correctly, it should go absolutely crazy. Right? And then with all these fractures exploding, you would then add end of the day your ultimate here, the Apocalypse, that has you just do frigging damage, and enemies that survive Apocalypse take 100% increased damage from you for 2 seconds. So the basic idea is that this bonus lasts longer against hexed enemies. You would have to use 1 skill, like Profane Sentinel, to actually hex the enemy 1 time. And then as I cast my Apocalypse, the enemy would take 100% damage for 4 seconds. And in those 4 seconds, I would just spam away my Hellfracture like no tomorrow to really get out the constant stream of booms. Especially then with every third cast going crazy, right? I like the idea. If it then works exactly that way, I don't know. But it could be cool. Right? A lot of this thing is obviously hopes and wishes and held together by duct tape, and it might fall apart up in contact with the real game, right? I do believe that what I cooked together for demons seems to be absolutely solid from what I have seen here, how skills work, from what we have seen here, how the gameplay of the Legion Warlock works, right? It all does seem to interact the way I would wish it to interact. That doesn't mean that it does, end of the day. Right? I mean, we will definitely play the campaign, but I might skip most of the cutscenes. I'm not entirely sure how we're going to do it on release, Chad. Because obviously, I need to get through the campaign. It's just how you start. I mean, I'm not going to start with Lord of Hatred and then not play the campaign. But what I wonder is if I should skip cutscenes and just watch them later, right? I mean, I always have the opportunity to watch the cutscenes for myself when I'm chill. Yeah, exactly. So, like, in order to avoid spoilers, right? Actual story spoilers for the people that don't want to get story spoiled because I play faster than them, I could probably skip cutscenes just to make sure that people don't get disappointed in their own gameplay. And then just blast through, pretty much. It's not the optimal game experience, but I mean, I'm a creator. It's my own fault. It is a sin, Mangara, and I totally agree with you. But, you know, the sacrifices you make to keep existing and doing this as a gerb. But if I wanted to play chill, I would pretty much not stream on the day, right? I wouldn't stream on release day. I would play in secret for 6 hours until the campaign is beaten. And then after playing in secret for 6 hours, I would come back online to show you whatever I found out. Was the Hellfire on screen? No, that just a second ago, this is Bombardment. That just a second ago was the Dreadclaws. This is going to be my skill, though, here, Chad. This is my skill. My Bombardment. I'll have the most fun with that. It'll be ridiculous. The only thing I'm a bit worried about a Bombardment is the multiplier. Okay? Because, again, I don't know how old that info is, right? But Bombardment shows a 40% multiplier. And having a skill with a base multiplier of 40% is never good. I mean, base Dreadclaws is a 65% multiplier. Hellfire is 80% multiplier. I'm not sure if this is just the new reality, right? But there's some skills that have just straight up better multipliers, right? So this Rampage does 128% multiplier. You are right that it's 4 hits with 40%, so you got to consider that. And then actually it's 5 hits with 40%, and then it's 9 hits with 40%. The same as Dreadclaws is 4 claws each with 65. So maybe I need to just look at it different, Jugs. So instead of being only a 40% multiplier, I need to look at it as like it's a 4 times 40% multiplier. Could be a thing. We'll have to see how it turns out when it's fully there. Do you think Blood Surge Necro would be better coming in X-Pack? No. No, I think they completely fucking screwed it again with Blood Surge. Thank you, Blizzard. Because the problem with Blood Surge is it still says Blood Surge Nova damage is increased by 5% per enemy drained up to 50%. Okay? So against a boss, you're losing 45% damage. Okay? Which sucks. Why would I want to lose 45% damage versus a boss? Not only do you lose 45% damage, if you play the minion variant, for example, you're not going to get the double cast. So if you play the non-minion variant, you're forced to play the double cast already. And there's no way for bonus sucks, unless they put bonus sucky tempers in. Because the gloves that used to have the bonus sucks don't have the bonus sucks anymore. Which fucking sucks. So yeah, I have zero hopes for Blood Surge. I think the whole blood concept of Necromancer is completely undercooked. And the uniques are also terrible. So I have this much hope for it to turn out decent. Maybe I'm just being pessimistic, negative, and a twat. But from my experience of what I've seen there, I doubt it. But I want to be proven wrong. In my personal hopes, okay? In my personal hopes and wishes, I'm going to be able to make at least 3 to 4 builds per class. I looked at Sorcerer today, Chan, and Sorcerer seems like I could do a Fireball build. I could do a Frojo build, Frozen Jojo. I could do a Meteor build. There's probably something Hydra related. You could potentially just go for Incinerate with Disintegration Beam. So these are just some builds that we cooked up in our mind. There's Ball of Lightning together with Firewall, in potentially Firewall actually throwing out with Wildfire. And that would be just Sorg, like 3 to 4 builds, right? We get our Necromancer then with the potential of minions into, there could be a Bone Spirit. Number 2, might be a chance to still do Blood Wave. Number 3, then we have a Blight. Number 4, potentially Sever or Bloodlands, right? 3 to 4 builds again. And for Druid, there's definitely going to be a Lightning build, unquestionable. So that's number 1. Then we got Pulverized. That's number 2. They just buffed Shreds. So that's already number 3. There will be a Landslide build, which would be 4. Then we get a Companion build, which is 5. And there's a Boulder build. That's 6 different builds. And you can make Lacerated Core Skills, which probably is already 7 builds for the Druid. If they're all Torment 12 viable, we don't know. But there is, as you see, quite the variety of things going on. And I think a lot is to blame on the unique items. Now, the sad part is that for the Warlock, I can't just see all the unique items because no one has listed all the Warlock uniques. I mean, if you actually want to see some of the uniques, there is a German creator that has a lot of them listed where we're all sourcing them from. That's our good old friend Jesse. Let's light the channel here. This one. And he has 2 videos where a lot of the skill trees were in, but especially in this one here. He did actually present us all the uniques, but sadly not for Warlock. So we have here, so you can see all the updated uniques, for example, for Paladin, how they are now cooking now, if they're still doing the same or if they actually fell behind. Not too much changed with the Paladin, so it's mostly just, you know, they're similar-ish to what they used before, right? And not too far off, but sadly, the Warlock one did not have a look into it, so we had another look into the Warlock skill tree, where I could actually see, wait, we get the skill here of the Fallen. I'm not sure if he hovered over Bombardment. It's actually a really good thing to know. So did he hover over Bombardment? Because I wanted to know if it's still the 40%, because this is the review version. So it's still 40% here, right? Wrath cost is 30. It has a very low lucky hit chance. That annoys me, that the lucky hit chance is so low. So lucky hit chance for resources out of the window. Right? Lucky hit chance for yeah, sadly out of the window. But if we're now scrolling through this, right, we sadly end up with, like, we have the charms, we have the seals. And then instead of going over the uniques, we just get a view at the Paragon board, right? Now, I haven't, like, seen, what is here? Oh, here, there's just hits from Arcfiend skills increase the damage enemies take by 4 up to 20. Well, that's kind of nice. You deal increased damage against enemies that have eviscerated. Yeah, that's also nice because you're going to easily be able to get that done. Death Aura, Demonologist. Wait. You gain increased damage while you have a greater demon summoned. I mean, your Agrim is a greater demon, so that's really easy. And all Demonology skills get damage. That's really nice because Demonology skills are pretty much everything. But yeah, so that's like the sad part. There's not many Necromancer uniques, so that's a scam. And I couldn't find, like, a vaster list of the uniques than the ones we've seen here so far. I mean, the best item we want anyways is this one, right? The Seed of Horizon. By the way, who was Horizon again? Because I know there is an item from him already earlier, but I never knew who he was then. Here. Lore deep dive quickly, Chan. So Horizon Rose was a magic user of the Vajeri clan and a participant in the Mage Clan Wars. Afterwards, he retired to the Arcane Sanctuary. Okay. Though a powerful summoner, Horizon feared that the Lords of Hell would punish him for enslaving their brethren. His mind shattered by the horrific experience he had gone through. He traveled to Arnhem. Okay. At some point, the song Bartok and Horizon was composed telling the tale of the two brothers. Wait, Bartok is his brother? Wow. Yeah. Cool, good to know. So yeah, this is what you want to have because it says your Demonology skills deal more damage by the amount of Wrath you have, right? And then every point of Wrath we get more, or every 10 points of Wrath we get more, is a huge chunk of damage. And not only a huge chunk of damage, the more dominance we have, the more damage reduction we get. So that's nice. I wanted to make a very inappropriate joke, but I stopped myself. I'm very disappointed in you, Jux, that you've stopped yourself. Disgusting. Be better. Did you check the Eye of Baal focus? Yes, we checked the Eye of Baal focus already. That says soul shard skills and their demon deal 80% damage. Casting a soul shard skill increases all your damage by 10 for 15 seconds up to 50. I like how long this is. The problem is we don't know how long the we really don't know the cooldown on the summon Agrim or the command Agrim. We don't know how that works. I do believe we can see. Let's again go for this video. I need to gather more Warlock videos, definitely for Summoner. It's complicated to find the right ones. Where is it? Here it was. So in this gameplay, we have we don't even have Agrim. See, that's the problem. We don't even have Agrim. I think Riker had Agrim. Riker. I think you had Agrim in your video, if I'm not mistaken. So here you just have the 50 stacks that work out. So that's that. But we're missing like out on Agrim, so we can't see anything there. Here's some more gameplay, by the way. This is like kind of like what half the video is. So the video is pretty much telling you like a little bit about this and some of the skills, and then the rest of the video is just watching this, just to get a feeling for how the summoner actually works. But there is Agrim here, actually. Which skill in the skill bar is he? Is that the Agrim skill? That's the Agrim skill, right? This is a symbol. Let me double check. It's a different symbol. But do we have a symbol that looks similar? No. No, that's the Fiend of... Do you not have him in your skill bar? Wait a second. Do you not have to have him in your skill bar for that? No, so... Huh? This is the Wall of Agony. That is the Eviscerate dude. That's your Abaddon skill. This is the Fallen. That skill here is the Hands. Is this the Command Agrim skill? I need to see it used. Yeah, that's the Command Agrim skill, this one. Okay. It has a 9-second cooldown, and it needs to recharge. Aha. Look at this. This is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Has demons in it. And then whenever you have that ready... Agrim does have life too, so he's an actual real summon. Oh. There's a 10-second cooldown. But it doesn't seem to cost anything, unless I'm blind. Yeah, it doesn't cost anything. Okay, intriguing. Huh. I mean, what I like to see here is look at the Wrath. So the Wrath is full, right? Because he doesn't actually spam the bombardment often. So you kind of have the one demon summon, right? You have your you have your fallen dudes like get you up. And he's not using the bombardment a lot. He's not using the summoning circle. Maybe the summoning circle is bad for leveling and we should go for the travel skill. That's the thought currently, right? Yeah, most damage seems to come from Agrim. Honestly, Agrim seems to be like mad damage right now if I look at this. So it's just going around. The summons are just clapping really good. I mean, it's okay. So we got to be realistic here. It's normal difficulty. You're level 40, right? You can't really gauge much from that, right? But still, it does seem to like not struggle with a single opponent. You're just waltzing up to everything. Everything just keels over. You can summon your ulti quite a lot, so that's also nice. Your demons are slamming, your bigger demons. Even though I'm not sure if we want to have them. The Wall of Agony is obviously useless. I'm not sure why he was using the wall. So that's something we can ignore. It's pretty useful. But considering that we see the gameplay here with these and how the Wrath stays up, that would again be Command Agrim. It would be the Bombardment. It would be the... Yeah, now is the question, what is better? Is the Tortured Wretch better, or is it better to summon the demon? Because technically you could just spam the Tortured... So again, I have this idea, because look at the dude, okay, Chad? So you're summoning this big Rampage demon. So he goes around, right? He walks, he summons a Rampage demon, he comes, he hits a bit. But that Rampage demon has to be summoned, right? That Rampage demon has to walk somewhere. And then he does what he does, if he then does what he does, right? So what I wonder is if the Wretch is not straight up better compared to that. Because for a normal patch of opponents, I would never summon the Rampage Demon. It's just unnecessary. That means you only need something against... You would only need something against elites. Like, walk with me, chat. Walk with me. How are we playing, okay? How are we playing? We're walking around. We're shooting at enemies, right? Our bombardment, they die. Normal enemies, just dead. Then we obviously have our ulti that we every now and then use against big elites, bosses, whatsoever. We have our Agrim who comes with us. And again, we could also spoo against elites. So we don't necessarily need the Rampage Demon. For nothing, right? There's nothing we kind of need it for. Which makes me really think, what if the Wretch is just better? This is something that we need to test then on release, but I'm having the hypothesis that the Tortured Wretch, in case you missed it, summons a demon on your enemies, dealing damage and taunting them. Okay, let's say there's some elite, right? There's a pack of elites, there's a big pack of monsters. Before I even engage, boom, I put the Wretch in. They get taunted, and I choose the Wretch specialization that spawns saw blades, carving up everyone. Pack of elites, demon in, bombardment, done, next pack. Why would I even need the Rampage? Everyone seems to be glazing Rampage. Like, from what I have seen, they cost dominance. The Rampage cost dominance too, Remy. You get 1 dominance per second. Our wretches, here, Command Fallen, are giving us dominance 2. So you could summon this. You could also make it cheaper, by the way. Cost is reduced by 30%. Yep. So you could go from 15 dominance cost down of 4-5, so 9 dominance cost. That's pretty good. Maybe for bossing the big boys better, Jugs. Maybe, but that's what we get Bombardment for, so we don't need the big boy. Right? You will have the unique, which changes Rampage to Wrath Spender core skill. Do you have the, do you have a picture of that unique? The Rampage helps with Eviscerate. The Tortured Wretch helps with Eviscerate as well. The Eviscerate is less amazing than the Eviscerate here from the Rampage, but the Eviscerate is still amazing. So it's going to be harsh to gauge which one is actually better. But if I just go from general, the Anathema of Primes. Anathema of... Where have you seen it? Yeah, the Wretch AoE is also AoE. Exactly. Anathema... Okay, so I found the description. The build utilizes the item Anathema of Primes to turn Arcfiend skills into core skills so that we can leap around the battlefield smashing enemies. Yeah, but that you can skill that. You don't need the Anathema of Primes for that. You just skill Rampage and go for Demonic. You don't need an item for that. You know? It's... I mean, if you wanted to use Rampage as a travel skill, we could do this. Okay? So actually, I think we're gonna go for Bombardment, Wretch, Angrim, Fiend of Abaddon. Then our Command Fallen to rotate around us, because we're gonna go for the Meat Shield Fallen. And last skill is probably Nether. Thing is, okay, very important, chat. I have Nether Step here right now, but it has a cooldown of 12 seconds. My question is, big question, big booty question. Do we want to have a 12-second cooldown skill? Okay, hear me out. Would you want to have a 12-second cooldown skill? Or would you just turn your Rampage into the Demonic Smash and just wait for the dominance cost to be there? You get a second charge. I know, manga, don't get me wrong. The basic idea was, if we use Rampage as a travel skill instead of a demon skill, okay, that we do actually get turned into demon form. Even if it's short into demon form, it shortly increases the damage of our summons as well. But that's not the point. So even if we only get turned into demon form, okay? We also have the Lesser Demon Wrath. And the Lesser Demon Wrath says, casting Rampage compels your Lesser Demon skills to generate Wrath per hit, which means that our Bombardment, so I pretty much jump, okay? I jump. And then my Bombardment, which costs 30, that summons now 5 demons, would give me 5 Wrath back. So it costs 30 Wrath, but I get 5 Wrath back already. So if we consider using Demonic Smash to jump from pack to pack every now and then still use the Tortured Wretch, right? Rampage is better for fast travel. Does it still do the great damage? I mean, supposedly yes, even more, because Rampage becomes a Hellfire mobility leap attack that transforms you into demon form, dealing 300% damage with a 5% shot per hit to ground volatility. And you could still have Rampage now smashes your lesser demons. No, you would want to have the Rampage as a chance to trigger the eviscerate volatility or knockdown hit effect when striking unaffected elite enemies. So I guess that's nice. And since it gives us volatility, it would actually boost passively our meat shields, which is not really important, but it would do that regardless. So this is a question I simply can't answer. If Nether Step would be better, because if you skill Nether Step, you can have Nether Step has an additional charge that would function like Shadow Step, where after you Nether Step one time, the cooldown starts for Nether Step 1, and then we could use Nether Step number 2, right? So that's actually quite nice. And we have Nether Steps movement spell bonus lasts 50% longer, so we can zoom more, right? Plus, you could say Nether Step brings all your Abyss summons with you, but we don't have Abyss summons, so that's really important. So that's useless. Nether Step now lets you run through the Abyss while immune, or Nether Step's portals remain for 10 seconds, re-enter back and forth. None of the variants is actually worth it in any way. So you could say some points, but you could also say Nether Step lets you run through the Abyss while immune for up to 3 seconds, cast again to exit early. So I guess with Gloomwalker, I could just get wherever I want without getting touched. But I would say that if I somehow get more dominance, and the problem is, how do we get dominance, right? You don't have many like we have Aspect of Authority, which gains 10 maximum dominance. I'm not sure if we have another dominance skill, so we don't have a dominance skill here. We don't have a dominance defensive skill, right? We don't have a dominance weapon. At least it doesn't show any aspects here, right? So we have nothing that shows any dominance related stuff there. I assume that there's a different way to gain dominance on top, or some way to increase the dominance, whatever, right? So we should see that is a possibility that we somehow can get more. But yeah. This is something that we have to play if it's then going to be Rampage. I mean, I really like the basic idea in a boss fight of saying, hey, Rampage into Demonic Smash with casting Rampage compels your lesser demon skills to restore bonus wrath. Because it will just allow me to cast Bombardment. If we reduce the cost of our core skills somehow, let's say we could get the cost of Bombardment down to 15 or even 20. If I then have the Brutality together with a Rampage, then it would be so that my Bombardment itself restores 9 resource per cast, which is half the cost. If we now also still have the Lum Rune, and I'm not sure if the Lum Rune will exist, because this is something that we don't know yet, right? Does Lum still exist? The one for, not Lum, the one that gives resource back. I'm not sure if the get resource back rune still exists. What was it called again? Because there were some removed, so I'm not sure if we still have that one to make resource playstyles possible. But I think it was actually removed. I have to see. But yeah, this is... I think we have a structure. Okay, Chad? We have a construct of what we're going to do. For leveling Nether Step later if resources solved. Exactly, so we're going to test between these two skills during leveling. But I think I can already confidently say I will play Tortured Wretch over playing the Rampage Demon. Now, we will have to see if that is so much better, but the theory behind this is sound, and it should work. Especially if you play the duration, enemies and demons killed close to the Tortured Wretch. This is the one that makes me the most interested, right? Because it says enemies and demons kill close. So you have to summon a Tortured Wretch, and it lasts for 5 seconds. However, if I summon the Tortured Wretch, and I actually spam my Bombardment into the Wretch, what happens? The Wretch gets the duration extended all the way to 10 seconds. Just like that. So I summon it, and 10 seconds later, I would have to summon it again. 10 seconds is a lot of time, right? Especially in a boss fight. If I have to summon this every 5 seconds, I'm going to off myself. If I have to summon this every 10 seconds, I'm totally fine. And we haven't seen a unique yet for Tortured Wretch. And they allegedly said, right, that every skill has a unique. That's going to be good. You're not... No, you don't need kills, Jux. It says demon kills. Sorry. Enemies and demons killed. If I throw my Bombardment, I kill 5 demons. Okay? That's why, you know, demon kills does not refer to enemy demons. It refers to demons. Whichever. Like, it doesn't matter who kills them. They just need to die. So you just need mass murder. Listen, chat. Mass murder. Okay? How good is Necro going to be when Lord of Fate drops? Necro's going to be S tier. I mean, from what I've seen so far, with the buffs to Necro, it's going to be S tier. Interestingly enough, there's one thing we haven't considered in Necro chat. Come closer. So they removed Gravebloom. Gravebloom is the unique that gives you 3 small golems. Okay? Gravebloom doesn't exist anymore. But that can only mean one thing, and you know what it means? ladies and gentlemen, think about it. If the unique is removed and the playstyle of 3 tiny golems was such a popular playstyle, what are we going to get? It's most likely going to be a variation of the golem, right? So that means with level 10 or so, I'm going to choose my golem, and then I'm going to go for 3 smaller golems, and I'm going to be like, bing, bing, bingity, bing, 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 bingity, bing, and just have a great time. So that's what I'm really excited for. I mean, you're going to start with mages, then you're going to make your mages do like, I don't know, fucking whatever. You're going to start with your warriors, and you can have your warriors count increased by 3, right? And then you can like have your golem already split into 3, and you can have your army of the dead. Oh, by the way, an army of the dead gives all your summons 50% increased damage right away. And then we're cooking. We're cooking. We're just going through. We have a command minion skill, right? Yay. We can add Sever, and Sever can be our mobility skill now. And the interesting part is that Sever as a mobility skill doesn't have a cooldown. Yes, you heard right, ladies and gentlemen. Sever as a mobility skill doesn't have a cooldown. Boom. Therefore, Necromancer can now teleport around, as it seems. I mean, it doesn't say that it has a cooldown, so we don't know if it gets a cooldown. But, like, if it doesn't, fuck you, right? Finally, Necromancer is able to go boop, 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 as fast as they want to, which would be crazy, by the way, but it is what it is. Yeah. I'm pumped. I mean, imagine dashing around, then focusing your skeletons, then having all your other skills. Fantastic. It's interesting that Blight can be a blood skill. What I wonder is, if I turn Blight into a blood skill, is it still a darkness skill that is also a blood skill, or is it then a blood skill? Because I haven't actually looked at the skill descriptions in the videos partially. If it's like added on top, or if it's replacing that. Absolutely torn between Necro and Warlock. I would start with Warlock. I mean, wholehearted recommendation. I assume that you're not going to play just one character, right? So if the Warlock is already new, play it, right? Necromancer is not running away, sir. Necro will still be there when you're done with Warlock. Right? It's not running away, but Warlock is new now. It's the new fun thing. It has 4 distinctive different playstyles. You can really go for the Legion Summoner. You can go for Hell Fracture Nukin. You can go for full demon form, where instead of casting the skills, you're spewing the skills forward. You can go for Shadow Dreadclaws, jumping over the map, being a menace. There's a way to also go for full Abyss Summoner, where you then summon all the Abyss shenanigans. Yeah. There's certainly a variety of playstyles being offered up to you, including then here the Metamorphosis, Terror Storm, Apocalypse, and Field of Abaddon, which each have a place in respective builds. Also, Katie, my family said the laugh with extra creepy. I'm working hard on it. Eggy, thank you for the 123 months, the 123, Eggy. It's been a while. It's been a little while. So yeah, but if you really want to play Necro, I would definitely focus first on Summoner. Summoner will be the easiest to get to Torment 12, and then you can pivot to whatever you feel like, right? We have not seen yet the Corpse Explosion specializations, so we really don't know what's there to come, right? I don't have any clue. I doubt that Corpse Explosion will be worth it in any way. Sorry, it's just not going to happen. Maybe Bone Prison gets some interesting variations. Also doubt it in any way. I mean, I like what they did to Iron Maiden, because Iron Maiden is now together with a ring that actually gives you the Cursed Aura aspect, and then together with the variations of Decrepify, very good. What I really hope for is that our Army of the Dead will be worth it, because right now Army of the Dead can get up to 1,350 bonus damage, and that's only the tip of the iceberg without other aspect multipliers. So if everything works the way I want to, we can probably get like around 2,000 damage multiplier on the Army of the Dead. You know? Which, by the way, Belly's the question, is Send of Death? No, is Cult Leader is your minions. Shit, Cult Leader doesn't count for that. But Flesh Eater does. Okay. Flesh Eater does, and I think we can work with Son of Death probably. Yeah. That's annoying that it doesn't count Cold Leader for it. That would be better. We'll have to see. Okay. I will do all the necro variations. I mean, I hope that we can really see like this here. You and what army? Blood Surge expels smaller blood novas on your minions. Dealing 200% damage, Blood Surge minion novas damage is increased by 5% for each minion drawn from up to 50. So technically, you can have 17. You heard, like, listen to the words coming out of my mouth, chat. You can have 17 skeletal warriors, and I'm not sure if you can have even more. 17. And now 17 warriors each have smaller blood novas expel out of them. And you can command them onto the boss. Right? If that works the way we would like it to work, that would be pretty nifty. But I fear that the multiplier might be too low. But if it's not too low, beautiful. I would absolutely dig that. But we'll have to see, right? That being said, chat, I think our Warlock theorycraft is concluded with this. I learned everything I had to learn, right? We put it together. I think today's session, absolutely worth it. What we have to do now is create the video with all the Warlock stuff that we've learned. And I have to scrounge the internet for a bit more summoner gameplay footage that I can then present to you, okay? The plan is solid. The build's looking good. I'm quite excited. We're probably going to have like the level version, and then I think there has to be the boss nuke version later on, right? So the open world speed zooming that uses one skill that is then different during boss fighting, okay? Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming, watching, lurking, chatting. We'll be probably back tomorrow with a short skill before the stream or before the game actually releases. But otherwise, I'll be there on release day, midnight, for you. Be excited for that. But there will be a bunch of videos coming beforehand, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, there will be a Warlock video coming. There will be a top 3 starter videos coming. There will be my personal plan video coming. All of this together. Hope you're excited for that. Wish you a great good one. And hope to see you all tomorrow. Latest at release. Again.